big. High-stakes live-action poker. Live at the bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Live at the Bike, brought to you by the Bicycle Casino in Los Angeles, California, the first and only webcast of real action cash game poker. My name's Bart Hansen. I'm here with a stranger, Dave Tuckman. It's been away for a while. What has it been, 2-3 weeks you've been in Vegas?
3 weeks. I was there from July 19th until Saturday.
Now, I know you weren't much of a drinker, but boy, we were really throwing it down there for a while.
I drank more in the last 3 weeks than I have in the last 3 years.
Really? Literally?
Not even a question. No question.
I wouldn't doubt it, really.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Well, tonight we're going to be doing a 5-10 game, 500 min, uncapped max. Everybody's new, with the exception of what looks like Garland. And I guess we've had Philly Al on the show before. Always fun to see Philly Al in the game. And we're going to be having these types of games all month long during Legends. And you're going to fill us in on some exciting happenings, how you did in the media event, what that means for the show. We're going to be getting a lot of people coming on now throughout the next month.
Should be a lot of fun.
Let's head over to the table.
I got to
get
tell
into
you,
it.
It's really good to be back. Legends of Poker. I tell you, the place to be is really the Bicycle Casino right now. You know, I almost compare the World Series in a weird way to the NCAA tournament. Like, once you get to the Final Four, does anybody really care?
Right.
It's the first round that does anything. Anyway, in seat 1, we've got RD. And RD, they're frowning. Seat number 2, we've got Iraj. Seat number 3, we've got David. David wear the old USA shirt. Seat number 4, we've got Garland. Garland's a 2+2er. Because he goes by Garland.
Yeah.
Seat number 5, we've got TC. He's not there right now, but he'll be back in a second. Seat number 6, we're going to jump over to him, right to Jack. Jack sporting the blue shirt. More hair on his face than his head. I always like that look. Seat number 7, we got good old Josh. Seat number 8, Philly Al Barberi. Now, has anybody actually ever entered 17 World Series of Poker events and not cashed in one? I mean, is that a record?
Give the guy a break, come on.
No, I love Al, and he knows it, but I mean, is there obviously a cold streak that he went on during the World Series? I mean, talk about going on a cold streak at the wrong time of the year.
Yeah.
0 for 17 in the World Series without one cash. That's a phenomenal
Hey, but
feat.
he did well over at Heavenly Hold'em right before the World Series over at the other casino.
Oh, okay. Does that make up for the 17 no cashes at the World Series?
Hey, man, you're the one that's giving heat. I'm the one that backed him, and I'm not. So
I guess I'm the only one. I'll tell it like it is.
Oh, okay.
Seat number 9, we got Mike. Mike's sporting the orange shirt, and if anybody noticed my face there, my face is quite orange.
Yes.
Did a little filming in the desert. Look at my face compared to yours right now. It's like,
I know, mine's feet white. You're like, actually, I can look at the back of your neck. You're like, like scaling almost.
I am definitely,
yeah.
like very reptile-like.
Yeah. Because you said you went basically north of Summerlin and just filmed in the desert, right?
We filmed like in the mountains of the desert. It was ridiculous. And what we thought was going to be like a 2-hour shoot and be done by 9 in the morning, by like 1 o'clock we finished.
Remember how I was complaining about how my car kind of got screwed up? I think it was the heat that actually like literally literally froze my radio, and it seems to be okay now that we're back to normal weather.
Now we get a raise in kind of like earliest position with King 10 of clubs here by Philly Al, and he's going to take this down. And Philly Al's one of those guys you always wonder, can he make that transition from tournament play to cash game play?
Now, I played with RD in seat 1 and Iraj in seat 2 the entire afternoon in a 5-10 game. Both seem to be pretty tight, solid, but I've said that before, and then people have come on the show. I actually lost a pot to Iraj where the flop came King, Queen, 9 with 2 clubs. I had 9-6 of clubs. I had bottom pair and a flush draw. He bet, I raised, he called. The turn was a blank. He checked. I really pushed with my draw. He called again. The river brought me a 6, and I bet 500 on the river for value. And he called, and he turned over King 9. So basically, he just check called.
I see. Well, I mean, he's obviously got to be a little cautious with King 9 also, because remember, if he raises you and you put heat back on him, it's very easy for you to have Jack 10 there, which would be a mate straight,
or King Queen. Right. So obviously, what I mean by that is at least he is somewhat sane in that manner, just from that hand.
He obviously didn't realize that his King 9 was vulnerable.
Absolutely.
Man, I can't tell you how good it's to be back here.
Now, David is going to raise it up here to 30. Yellow chips are $5 chips. Purples are quarters.
And look at Garland. Garland kind of stepping out of his little shadow there. He's going to call with 8-9 of hearts.
Well, he's on the button.
No, I like the call. I really do.
King, deuce, jack here. A couple of spades out on board.
And RD has the best hand here with Queen 9. Actually, no, he doesn't. What am I talking about? Ace Jack's still the best hand.
David's going to bet here.
For some reason, I thought it was Queen Jack Deuce.
He's going to bet 60. And And it looks like RD is going to be out of there.
Yeah, I like the new setup, I got to tell you. In the
Can you see this okay? The flop
I can, yeah. I mean, we've moved the cameras around a little bit.
Yeah.
My instinct was, of course, to look to the left for the flop.
Wow, and look at this, though. RD is going to call here with a gut shot straight draw.
Well, can he represent a spade if it comes?
Yeah, we'll see.
And normally
Very,
I'd
very
like this play
surprising.
better if, let's say you had the spade in your hand.
Well, the turn's a 7.
Changes nothing. He still needs a 10 to win this.
And
or
it
a
goes
queen.
check, check, and the river's a 4. Well, can he throw in maybe like kind of a bluff bet here on the river? And it looks he's just going to give up, Dave. And I assume that David's going to throw a little value bet out here.
I like it. I bet this for value because you think maybe your opponent might have Jack 10 or Queen Jack. He might.
Well, there's nothing RD can do. He can only check raise here. He can't call.
Right.
And it looks like he is out of there. Now, as always, you can email us at liveatthebike.com, questions, comments, suggestions. You can also follow a live thread started on the internet by going to 2plus2.com, spelled out, click on forums, televised poker. I have to tell you right now, if you are watching this live, we're having a little bit of trouble in here with our internet connection. In the casino, we're getting dropped off. We had it for about 15 minutes before the show.
So
now it's off.
So if we don't answer your email, it's not because we don't like you.
Now, if you're watching this is a free half-an-hour live show, and you could also be watching this on replay all the way up through tomorrow. If you want to watch the entire thing, click on the on-demand banner, sign up for the archives. It gets you access to every show we've ever done, plus this entire show. And if you want to watch the rest of this show live, sign up for the archives, and you can watch this entire show live.
Wow. I guess being in Vegas for 3 weeks straight, 2.5 weeks, that is just a long time in the desert.
Now, Garland is going to raise it up here to 45 with king-queen offsuit from the cutoff. Jack is going to call here in the small blind with 8-10 of diamonds.
Oh, wow, look at this. David's going to call with king-7 offsuit out of position with a hand that really, it's got no value at all.
So here we go, 140 going 3 ways. Garland, the pre-flop raiser. Well, he's missed. Can he represent the ace, though? If he bets here, he's definitely going to take it down.
Well, Garland's there you go. He does bet.
Bet 75 here, and that should do it.
Yeah, he bets about 60% of the pot, and that's the whole point of raising in position. And Garland is pretty good about making that continuation bet. The biggest problem with Garland is that if he misses, he'll always make that continuation bet. And you could almost check raise him every time because he throws it away way too often on a check raise. At least that's what I've noticed with Garland.
Really? You mean like you would think he would throw away ace-queen there, you mean?
Not ace-queen, but if he ever misses, he just assumes if you're check raising him, you have to have it. Always. He's just one of those targets.
Well, I kind of understand where you're going with that, but in a cash game, I don't necessarily think that's a bad play to not get involved. I mean, you don't always want to be floating off with nothing.
No, you definitely don't. 100%. He's one of those guys that because of his image, at least from what I've seen, when I've played with him a couple times, from his image, it's easier to take a shot at him. And you never want to be that guy that people take shots at.
Well, RD is just going to limp in here with ace-queen suited. All right, looks like we're going to see a button raise here by Jack with queen 10 of spades. Now, RD has Jack dominated. Look at Philly Al. He's going to call with 7-3 of hearts here out of seat 8.
And if hearts come, Philly Al's in a lot of trouble.
Now, it's funny because RD has Jack dominated, but Jack has the betting lead here. He has raised from the button, so if everybody misses, he might take it down here.
Now, obviously, RD in great shape. If hearts comes, he's in good shape. And if a queen comes, he's in great shape.
So here we go. It's a $150 pot going 3 ways. Well, ace 10 7 here. Now, how is RD going to play this? Now, Jack has middle pair. Philly Al's caught bottom pair.
And he's going to bet right into it.
RD is going to bet right into the raiser, and the raiser immediately calls without a second thought. Al is out. $350 pot. Now, if you've got ace queen, you got to start thinking, boy, what does this guy have? Turns
well,
to
the
6.
thing is, the guy called so quickly, you got to start thinking, wait a second, what did he call with? Because remember, he called so quickly, almost as if he had a diamond draw or some sort of straight draw. And 8-9 of diamonds.
And now Jack has picked up a spade draw with a pair.
Yeah.
And look how
now,
much
obviously his queen is no good though. He doesn't know that.
Looks like RD is going to drive forward for about 235 here. Wow, and Jack is just going to get out of there. He's going to fold. Now, he could have caught a 10 or a spade there. The pot was about in the high 500, say about 585. 235 to call. I think it becomes a math problem. I think the way that RD plays. Now, I played with him for 3 hours. I know he's got a pretty big hand. Probably a minimum of ace queen, maybe 2 pair, maybe ace king. I'm getting about 2.5 to 1 in true odds. I've got 9 outs to my spade. I also, I might think that, if I hit my 10 or my queen, I'm good as well. I've got about 11 outs with 1 card to come.
Is there any way you can represent a diamond up? A diamond card?
That's true as well. You never know. I mean, it looks like RD had more money. I've definitely called in that spot.
Yeah. Well, it obviously depends on who you're playing against. You either want to call in that spot if A, the player you're playing against will pay you off to the full tilt if you happen to hit your hands. You also want to be calling there as if your player is passive enough that you can get him off if you can represent diamonds. It's those middle line guys you don't really want to call, the guys who aren't going to pay you off if you hit your hands, but they're too good so you can actually probably get them off when the diamond comes.
No, RD, this time he's got ace-king and he's just limped in again from up front. And Al is going to raise it up to 80 here with ace-jack clubs. Remember, Al is a very aggressive kind of tournament player. Haven't seen him a lot in the no-limit cash games.
Well, no need to raise here if you're RD. You're in position. You can raise it if you want.
And he is going to pull the limp re-raise. He is going to push. Looks like he's going to make it maybe 225, 250. Kind of took a stack of chips out there and threw him out there.
And Philly Al's in really bad shape here. Obviously, you've got to realize good chance that you are drawing to 3 outs. And you obviously don't know which 3 outs you're looking for. You don't know if you want your ace. You don't know if you want your jack.
Well, it's 125 more, actually, and Al calls. So this pot is quickly $350. Al is dominated, but he outflops him.
I mean, how do you know if that's a good flop for you now? Remember, once again, you don't know if you wanted the jack or the ace here. Could you easily be up against kings here, or even queens?
Well, he goes check here. RD takes the card.
Wow.
Oh, and the turn's a 10, and now Philly Al can't beat much. He can't beat 3 queens, 3 jacks, can't beat ace-king.
There's nothing he can beat here.
He can't beat kings, he can't beat aces. That's a really bad turn card here for Philly Al.
You got to think, if this guy limped re-raised, what kind of hand would he limp re-raise with? Aces, kings, queens, ace-king, ace-queen. There's nothing you can
Looks like this guy's betting pretty good. Good amount, maybe 275, something like that.
Well, why not build yourself a pot? Remember, the pot is already $350. It's betting about 70% of the pot.
There is just absolutely nothing that you can beat here with ace-jack, especially if the guy maybe slow-played 3 queens or something like that on the flop.
I got to tell you, man, it's good to be back. I've never been a big fan of LA, but it is good to be back. Especially here at the bike. I kind of walked in, I was like, oh man, I'm home, finally.
Never been a fan of LA?
It's okay.
And it looks like, Al's trying to figure out how much RD has left. He might have a little over 500 or 600 left. That's just a very bad turn card, and Al's out of there.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, and that's the problem with ace-jack there. You see how passively Philly Al to play it. Now, Philly Al obviously knew what his opponent had. He could easily bet on the flop and probably have taken it down right there and then. The problem is you don't know if you're behind the kings, queens, or whatever. You have no idea where you're at when you're out of position with ace-jack. I gotta tell you, I had so much fun in Vegas, though, doing the convention, meeting all of the people, the Live at the Bike fans that came down. I mean, that last day when we had that charity event with Gavin Smith, Joe Seabach, Liz Liu, that was a lot of fun. And all of these players have actually they've all actually really want to play on the show. Vanessa Russo, they all want to come on the show.
We could I was talking about this earlier, we kind of had like a sort of a little bit of a strip-tease poker commitment between Vanessa Russo and Genocide, right?
And actually a third person is actually committed to it as well. Erica Schoenberg.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Because I went to the Kenneth James charity event.
Yeah.
Talked it up with Erica, and she is committed to playing as well.
Both of us played the Kenneth James charity event, which was on, last Tuesday?
Yeah, how'd you do in that?
I think you made it like maybe 45 minutes later than I did.
I lasted longer than you again?
Big deal.
Man, I tell you, these charity events, I just continually last longer than you.
Now we got a raise here by seat 6 with pocket threes, and Philly Al is going to 3-bet here with ace-jack, kind of almost like a limit play. He's going to re-raise.
Well, in this case, it's a little different here.
And David calls the raise and the re-raise with ace-5 offsuit from up front.
Yeah, really a weak play there. Now, Philly Al, this play is a lot stronger because you are in position. And ace-jack is a lot easier to play in position than out of position.
Well, he's got David dominated here. Two-way action here, heads up, $300 pot. Well, there's the jack. Nice flop for Al.
Yeah, David is almost drawing dead here and he's running cards.
And Al's just going to move it in. He is moving all in. I think maybe that's because Dave might only have about 400 or so left.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. And Philly Al is aggressive play. There's no point in slow playing that kind of hand.
So let's talk a little bit about the World Series of Poker. It looks like they're down to 28 or 29 people.
27.
I just checked the cardplayer.com right before our internet went down. And really, the only named pros that I necessarily recognize were the three. There's Jeffrey Lissandro, Alan Cunningham, Prelock Friedman, and I didn't really know anybody else. I mean, I kind of knew a couple other names, but none of big pros.
Yeah, that really benefits a lot of those players. They actually finished play today at 5 o'clock because they were only going to play to 27, and they were done at 5 when the 28th player got knocked out. So they'll come back tomorrow and play 3 tables down to 1 table. Obviously, Jamie Gold. Everything he does is gold so far.
Now, Jamie Gold is a guy that you say you recognize plays here a lot. I don't know if he's ever been on the show before.
No, he's never been on the show, but he likes to play a lot of cash. He likes to play a lot of tournaments.
Yeah.
David Kelsey is actually really good friends with him. Kelsey's actually going to fly to Vegas tomorrow and kind of root him on.
4-way action here. Ace, Jack, 8 with a couple of clubs.
And nobody's got an ace, but seat number 1's got the Jack. I tell you, after doing the show in Vegas, in that cramped quarters, this is an absolute treat.
Well, the turn's a king, and now Jack takes the lead here with king 9. And he's going to
25.
And he's going to bet here. Looks like he bet a quarter. That's a
25 into about a $50 pot?
Yep. Again, we're playing 5-10 no limit, uncapped buy-in here. Wow, and RD is going to call with Jack 10. He's got a pair and a straight draw. And here we go to the river. And the river here is a 10, and he makes 2 pair.
I mean, how can he really bet that strong? I mean,
well, he's going to come out and bet now.
I mean, it's a one-liner to a straight. Yeah. Is that really what you were looking for? But he's going to put a little bet out there, almost a blockish bet, where only somebody with a queen could raise you. Even if you had ace-king there, you couldn't raise. And so anyway, talking about the World Series, obviously they played down to 27 today. I think it really benefits a lot of the players because normally they've only been getting a 12-hour turnaround, finishing right around midnight. By the time they get back to their hotels or their house or wherever they're staying, by the time they wind down and let their head kind of relax for a second, maybe get a quick little bite to eat and then go to bed, they're only getting, say, 7 hours of sleep. They've got to wake up and go right back into the tables. Really tough. But tonight, they're all done by 5 o'clock. They can have a nice dinner. They can relax, get a good night's sleep, and come back for the final push tomorrow to the final table. And remember, all the players are off on Wednesday as well. Remember in 2004 when Chris Moneymaker won, Amir Vahidi really complained about the fact that they did not get any rest for the final table.
King 5-3 here. We had a raise pre-flop. I want to say it was by Mike with king deuce suited in the cutoff. He's hit the king, and he's going to make about a $55 continuation bet here. And David here in C3 is going to call. Can't quite see what he's calling with, Dave. Help me out there with the red queen jack.
Well, he's I can only assume that he's calling to make a play,
well,
right?
The turn's a 6.
I mean, obviously you're not calling to hit a queen or a jack, are you? And I got to tell you, if you're Mike here with king deuce, I'm going to bet one more time just in case my opponent has 6-4, just in case my opponent has deuce 4, or just in case my opponent has clubs. Now, deuce 4 obviously would have gotten there already, but I want to know, and I don't want to give him a free card. And you're not quite sure what David is doing there. Calling with queen jack, very much a limit hold'em play. Now, we're going to have a lot of tournament players here over the next month, and I expect to see a lot of tournament-type plays. But anyway, getting back to Amir Vahidi and how he complained about the 2004 World Series, how he did not get enough rest when he went to play, these players should actually be pretty well rested. I mean, I'm sure they're exhausted right now. But after a good night's sleep tomorrow, they're just one day of poker, then another full day off. When they come to the final table on Thursday, they should all be well rested. Now, with 87 million chips in play, you want to have about at least 10 million going to that final table.
I keep my office over in Glendale, so I go to Ralphie's all the time.
We're going to see a button raise here. He's going to make it 30 to go with pocket threes. And David's going to call with king 6 here. Garland's also going to call here with pocket 7s. And Al's in there with queen jack. So it's a $120 pot going 4 ways.
I like the patio.
Now there's the king.
King 10-8 here. Well, not a bad flop for Al here. It's a rainbow board. He's open-ended.
I mean, the one thing I'm wondering, though, is you're there with king 6, right? I mean, what do you do now?
Well, he checked it. Al is going to semi-bluff $80 bet right into the raise, or pocket threes, I'm sure, is going to fold. I'm sure Garland's done with it. And what is David going to do? David is going to check call here with king 6.
And this is the problem with it. You can't play that hand strong at all. Now Philly Al can really decide if he doesn't hit his hand right away, he can take the free card if he wants. He can bet.
400 here to the turn, and Al picks up a pair, but David is still in the lead. Let's see if Al takes the card now.
Against this player, I'm not sure if you want to bet him off it. Well, he puts kind of a blockish bet in there, and I got to say, I don't really understand the point of this bet.
Well, it's a blockish bet, but he's in position.
Right, that's why I don't understand
and
the
check
bet.
call here by David. It's a $700 pot. Obviously, Al's got a lot of outs here. Here we go to the river.
And
well, the
one
river is a jack, and he makes 2 pair. This one still might go check, though.
Yeah, and it does.
And Al's going to win it there with 2 pair, queens and jacks.
Now, the bet on the turn by Philly Al, I don't understand it, I got to tell you. If you're going to take the free card, take the free card. If you're going to bet and try to get him off the hand, okay, do that. But why you're putting a blockish bet in position, there's no way you're going to get your opponent off of a weak king. But let's say you bet 300 or 350 there, he makes a pot-sized bet. Maybe he does take it down, who knows? And I'm not sure which one is better in that case. I probably would have taken the free card against that player. But I certainly wouldn't have been putting kind of a little pussyfoot bet out there. I don't see what that gets out of you.
So obviously you won the media event, Dave.
Yeah, it was funny. You and I did a last longer. And I have a $20 bill from you that actually says Bart first out, Tuckman last out.
Yeah, we both were all in on the first hand. You just
Right.
happened to suck out where the guy sucked out on me.
Hey,
and that
you know
was the
what?
difference.
That's the secret to good poker. Good tournament poker, you have to learn how to suck out, okay?
Yeah.
And
You were all
until
in
you
with-
learn how to suck out, you'll be out.
You were all in with ace jack against what, kings and queens or something like that?
I had a strategy. My first hand, I said, okay, I am going to, the first time I get a decent hand, and a couple of people have already raised and called, I am going to try to get chips a lot. It's a media event. The rounds were 10 minutes long. 10 minutes long. What am I going to do? I'm going to sit around for 4
Right.
hours?
I was still surprised, that I was eating dinner that it took that long. This tournament took like 6 hours. It's like, boy, if he doesn't win this, then what a big waste of time. Queen 10-8 here was limped around on the flop.
David is open-ended here. See if he bets it in position.
It's on you.
And David's going to bet it.
30.
And I don't think Garland's going to get involved here, no. But look at that. Jack is going to call with bottom pair here and backdoor spades. The 9 comes, and actually David is now backed into the best hand. It goes check, check. The river is a queen. And if it checks down here, David is going to win this. But let's see if Jack thinks he needs to bet it. And it's almost like a little small, it's like $50, $60 bet. It's a $60 bet into about a $150 pot. And I'm not sure if David can beat much except the bluff here, but you know what? He might be priced in. He might think he has to call. And that's the problem with making that little bet.
Yeah, he makes the call.
If you want to bluff at it, really bluff at it. If you put a $125 bet out there, you take it down.
Very peculiar play. New player looks like coming into seat 5, or is that he was just away? That is TC? Yeah, that is TC. Now, TC is a guy, he plays it squeaky tight, Dave. Really, really tight. He's got a big problem with you because I think he never wants you to his left.
I don't want to be next to him either, to be honest with you. He chews on his fingers.
Yeah,
I don't know what. It's it's nasty. I don't know what's wrong with the guy. It's really disgusting. Anyway, back to the media event. My strategy right at the top was we were sitting there, you and I, we actually had plans that night to get dinner, like a good steak dinner, and then go see Ka. Okay? And we were going to go see Ka. And my plan right away was I'm going to get chips. I'm going to get knocked out of this damn thing. So sure enough, somebody in an early position made it 250. 2 callers, and I looked down, I had ace-jack suited. I go, okay, this is as good a time as any. Let me see if I can get some chips. So I move all in, okay, thinking I'll pick up the dead money. One guy has queens, one guy has kings, okay? I'm like, okay, well, I need an ace either way. I might as well get 2 callers. The flop, I hit an ace. The turn, I hit an ace. And the river, I hit the 4th ace. And right away, I had 3,000 in chips, and I never looked back after that. I pretty much, once I tripled up there, I was running over to every table I was sitting at.
Limped around here. Again, 5-10 no limit. Yellows are 5s. Purples are quarters. White chips are hundreds. Uncapped buy-in, $500 minimum. Queen 8-4 here with a couple of hearts. Well, a couple people have top pair here. TC and Josh.
Yeah, well, TC's, he can't get married to that one.
Josh is going to bet 30. Like I said, though, TC plays it really, really tight. He's going to call. He check calls with Queen 7.
Heads up.
Here we go to the turn. Well, the turn's a third heart here. Now he's got the Queen of Hearts, and it goes check, check.
Wow.
And the river here is an 8. I mean, do you blame Josh for
Jack?
checking
Oh.
there with Queen Jack?
No, it's not a bad play.
Queen.
You're controlling pot size
And
here.
it gets checked down, and Queen Jack's going to win it.
I got to tell you, though, if the guy checks to me in the river, though, I'm probably going to bet it. I mean, the guy could have King Queen, I suppose. But
Yeah.
I'm going to put a little heat on him. Who knows? Maybe I can call. Remember, he's in the blind. He could easily have King, Queen 10, Queen 9. In this case, Queen 7. Now, I got to say, although winning it was fun and having such a big chip stack, I mean, there was at one point I was at the final table, I had like 250,000 in chips. You know, my next closest competitor had like 40,000. But the highlight of the night, without a doubt, was sitting with Shannon Elizabeth and playing with her for about an hour.
Did you get to talk with her a little bit?
Oh, yeah, all night. It was
Well.
great.
I still don't quite understand that thing. I'm sure you didn't ask her about that, but her ex-husband, or the guy that she divorced, or
I hung out with him.
vice versa.
I hung out with him 2 nights ago.
He's now with Annie Duke.
I hung out with him 2 nights ago. 2 nights ago, I went to Tahoe over at Venetian,
Yeah.
and I was partying there. And after the night was over, he met us there because he was obviously sweating and rooting on his girlfriend, Annie Duke, and then came over and started hanging out with us.
Now, Philly Al here has raised it up. He's got pocket aces. He made it 60 to go. Under the gun. Now, the big blind here has got Queen 10 offsuit. Definitely kind of a troublish hand, and he's out of there. I'm just saying, you know, Annie Duke, you've heard, it's funny. I've heard so much, like, different opinions about her. Negreanu, a couple of years ago came out really, really with the tongue lashing against her and her brother.
Right.
Then I've heard some people that say that she's actually nice.
I mean, I can only go with what I've done. I've met her a few times, and she was extremely nice to me. She was extremely nice to my wife. She was extremely nice to my mother-in-law. Seemed like a nice woman.
Now, can we even talk about what you were telling me before the show? The possibility of things going on in other countries, anything like that? Or do you want to
I
let
think
that
we
for
probably
us?
shouldn't.
Oh, okay.
But thanks for asking me in the air. That always
Yeah, well,
helps.
you got it. I'm not talking about with this show.
I know.
Yeah. Now the button here has got pocket jacks. He's going to raise it up. Well, I figured it was harmless because no one knows what the hell we're talking about anyways.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, you might as well mention it.
And RD is going to make the call here. He's badly dominated here with King
Out of
Jack of Hearts.
position.
Heads up.
Now, it is suited, and if it was another player involved, it wouldn't be a terrible call. But off suit, I'm not sure if you want to get
Well,
involved.
he flops a flush draw here. He's got an overcard as well. Pot's about $100.
Betting 100.
And he gets checked over to Jack, and Jack is going to bet 100. This is why I would like to bet in here if I was RD. You
Right.
might just get Jack to fold.
But would you ever do the check, like I like to hear, like, how about the
Gonna be a
check
major
call
upset.
and then lead in the turn no matter what comes?
It's going to be a major upset.
Well, he says it's going to be a major upset.
I know
Check
it.
call. Pot's $300. Here we go to the
And then
turn.
you put maybe, let's say about a $125 bet here. Right here, see, I would play, if I had a
Well,
queen here, I would bet 125 there. Why not bet
It
it?
goes check here, and the river's a 4, and RD is totally missed, and it's just going to kind of let Jack off the hook there.
Yeah, and I cannot believe Jack actually gave
That's what Hearts would
RD
have came.
a free card.
The Hearts would have came.
How can you possibly? You look at that board there, Queen 6-5. Okay, I know you can't beat the Queen, but why not bet the turn and take the free showdown on the river? You can't afford to give your opponent a free card there. You think about it. If your opponent has 7-8, you're vulnerable. If your opponent has 7-4, you're vulnerable. 4-3 hearts. I mean, there's so many possibilities there. I don't know how you give a free card. Anyway, to go back on what you were saying, there's actually going to be a high stakes cash game going on in Britain, in England, UK, which is very similar to GSN's. And there's a slight possibility, and I stress slight possibility, that Bart and I will be the commentators for that show.
Well, of course, you've had such good relations. You've been doing a lot of work with the UK Poker Channel, which has the LA Poker Scene on it. And then the Poker Channel sold the LA Poker Scene to Canada and South Africa as well, right?
They actually haven't sold yet, not to South Africa. We're actually working with South Africa ourselves.
Oh, okay.
And seeing if we can sell our show to South Africa.
Jack's got pocket aces, pocket rockets here.
But once again, I do stress very
Right.
slight possibility that you and I will be doing
Ray,
the commentary.
making 65.
But obviously that would be very exciting for us.
Absolutely. Jack is going to raise it up here to 60. With pocket rockets. Everyone's really limped in here with garbage, kind of. I mean, not much.
I mean, really, real garbage. Deuce
Again, I'm
9
surprised
suited.
seat 2 there, Iraj, seemed to play it tight. He's limped in with queen 5 of diamonds. Well, seat 1's in there.
He might be getting bored a little bit. I mean, he hasn't played a hand all night. And seat 1, we can't see his card there. Kind of strange shadow on the light there.
Wouldn't even call it. I respect your
Flop
hand.
comes out ace 10-7. We got a set of aces here for Jack. We still cannot see seat 1's cards. And
I think it's
apparently,
king deuce, Dave.
well, you got some good eyes, man, because I couldn't see that.
So obviously he's totally missed.
Yeah, this is. And you know what? Jack is going to bet it, and I do not blame the bet. Some people go, why not slow play it there? What? And let a queen come off, let a spade come off, let a jack come off, and maybe somebody makes a straight, and then you go bust.
Again, probably about 1 minute into the changeover, Dave. This is the last minute of the free portion of our show. If you want to watch the rest of the show, click on the on-demand banner in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. Sign up for the archives, get you access to the entire free show. You can watch the show at any time at your leisure, plus the other, say, what is it, over 700 other shows that we've done? Maybe not that much. I never actually thought about doing it by show. Maybe 300 shows.
I got to tell you how excited I am, though. The fact that you and I have kind of branched out, and obviously you and I haven't been here all of July, but I actually think in the long term, and you'll start seeing the benefits this month right away, but I think in the long term it's going to benefit our show and our viewers so much. Because of the fact that you and I have met people such as Vanessa Russo, Daniel Negreanu, Phil Gordon, Gavin Smith, Joe Seabach, Liz Liu. These are players that will all come on our show now and play in the cash games. Barry Greenstein, all of them.
And Phil Yow's going to raise here with ace-5 offsuit. And we're going to get a call here. A very troublish hand, king-jack offsuit, out of position here by David. Well, Philly Alley's got the best hand here with ace-high. He also has a wheel draw. He's probably going to make, I got to say, 100% of the time he's going to bet this one check.
Of course. And I got to tell you, 99.9%, I'm going to bet that too. Especially against a guy like David, who's been calling with hands like king 5, king 9. Good chance he missed that flop. Why not bet it?
Again, you can email us at liveatthebike.com. Questions, comments, suggestions. As of right now, I can't quite access them, but that could change at any time. So keep those emails coming.
Once again, our 2006 Legends of Poker tournament's going on right now. Today's event is Omaha High Low, $300 buy-in.
And we saw Shirley Rosario out there and Steve Badger and some of those other Omaha.
And tomorrow's tournament will be the No Limit Hold'em with one rebuy. And that is a $200 event.
Uh-oh. Aces are going around, and seat 9's got kings. Garland's got pocket aces, and the button has pocket kings. This could be a big one here. Looks like both guys are fairly deep.
Yeah,
looks like Garland's got over 1,000. I think seat 9's got him covered. That is Mike over in seat 9.
Make it 60 total.
Garland's going to raise it up here after one limper. He's going to make it 60. You would assume that Mike is probably going to re-raise.
I think it's a no-brainer.
And
re-raise.
how should Garland play it here out of position?
The way this table's been playing, you have too many loose callers in there. You almost have to re-raise.
But it looks like he just called.
Wow.
He just called, and that is going to bring seat number 1 in there with ace-6 of clubs.
And this is exactly the reason why I'd be raising with pocket kings.
And
I don't want David in there with some garbage hand, and I don't
David's
want
in there with 3-4.
and I don't want RD in there with some garbage hand. And let's see the flop. I mean, this is going to be about a $250 pot.
The problem here, though, is if Garland gets raised by Mike on a rag board, is he going to release? How about this 8-7 deuce here? Philly Al had 7-8. Garland is still way out in front here. But like I said, Garland's a pretty tight player. When you bet and a guy raises, could you put him on 8-7? Could you put him on a set when you're deep? And I have a feeling that Mike is going to go for broke. He might push all in on this flop, thinking he slow played an overpair.
Now, the action's over to David. Does he think? No, okay, there it is.
Garland's going to bet 200
That's
here.
a nice bet. That's about a 75-80% bet here.
And there we go. I knew it, Dave. Mike is going to move in. Now, the issue here is, at this table, would he do this with the set? Do you really think he might have some other overpair like 10s, jacks, or queens?
That's the problem, and that's the reason why you've got to call with aces here. It's one of the reasons why that infamous hand that I had against Barry Woods, when I had aces and he had pocket eights here,
right.
If he moved all in right away, I have to call him thinking he has kings or queens.
Well, let's do some math out. $200 bet and a call and an all-in. How much more is it? That's the question. And look at this. It doesn't matter because Garland's calling.
You can't throw that away. I'm sorry. There's just too many draws out there.
Yeah.
Your opponent could have 9-10. Your opponent could have spades. Your opponent could have kings, queens, jacks, or 10s.
Well, the turn's a 10. Mike needs a king and a king only. And if he doesn't, Garland's going to win over a $2,000 pot. Here we go to the river. The river's an ace, and Garland's got 3 aces.
The
Didn't need
case
it.
is, by the way.
Yeah, didn't need it though, obviously. And Garland waits. He actually waits for the button to turn over his hand to see his hand. Although Garland, because Garland did call the all-in, wanted to see what he had.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And again, it's an interesting thing because a guy might do that with 8-7, but he also might do it with 9-10 of spades. You do have the ace of spades in your hand, but there's also a chance he might do it with 10s, jacks, or queens as well.
You've got to realize, after you bet $200, the guy moves all in, you're getting like 3-1 on your money, right? Or 2-1 into over 2-1 on your money.
Yeah, it was probably about 2-1. Yeah.
And then you got to start thinking, okay, the guy could have a set, he could have 2 pair, but he could also have so many other hands. I think it's a no-brainer call. I just don't see how you can get away from that in a cash game where you can rebuy.
Let's see how much more it was. Looks like it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 total. So yeah, it was 700 more. So it's probably about 14 or 1500, 700 a call, Dave. About a little over 2-1.
I mean, it's a no-brainer call. Remember, you only have to be right 1 out of 3 times to break even.
Right.
1 out of 3 times. I mean, that means, okay, the guy might have a set, but couldn't he have king, queen of spades? I mean, there's so many hands you can have.
Nice hand there for Garland. And he pretty much doubles through there. Actually, C9 had him covered. Again, I wondered, though, if he made the re-raise on the button and it drove everybody out and say it was heads up, because nobody called in between. And there was always that great debate. If you raise with aces and you're Garland, the guy re-raises you, and it comes back to you, and nobody's called in between you and the re-raiser. How do you play it? Can you call, play the flop as a check raise? What do you do?
Yeah, it kind of depends how deep you are. It also depends, obviously, if you're in position or not. Now, in that case, he's out of position. He might want to re-raise. He might want to go the check raise on the flop. Who knows? Check raise all in no matter what comes. Obviously, in that case, though, you're pot committing yourself. You're not going to go anywhere.
9 playing 500 behind.
And C9's going to rebuy here for 500.
Especially considering how few chips that Garland had.
Button moves over here to seat 1. Well, how few chips? I mean, Garland did have 1,000. That's not really that.
Right. But once, right. That's what I mean. Once you make a $60 raise, the guy re-raises to $150. Okay. And you put a $200 bet out there, you're not going to fold. I mean, there's just not that many. You don't have enough money there.
Yeah.
If you have $3,000 or $4,000, obviously the flop comes out and say king, jack, blank. You got to really be scared.
Got a raise here by seat 2. He's going to raise it with queen 10 offsuit and small blind.
3 players.
We're going to see it 3 ways here. Seat 9 needs to show us his cards over there. Jack 9 and queen 10. Well, queen 10, he raises out of the small blind with queen 10. He hits top 2, and David's open-ended here.
Yeah, there are 2 spades out there, but heads up there, you're not usually going to be scared of.
Betting 60.
You're not usually going to be scared of a flush draw.
He's going to bet 60 here with top 2. Jack 9 is going to call with the open-ended straight draw. Seat 9's got Jack 8. He's got a gut shot. I'm assuming he's going to fold. So we've got queen 10 against Jack 9 here. The board is queen 4-10. Here we go to the turn. The turn is a deuce. It is a third spade. Can C3 represent a spade?
Betting 120.
But queen 10 is going to continue to fire here with top 2. That's 120. That's about half the pot size bet here.
Wow, and he's going to continue calling. Now, you got Jack 9 without a spade in your hand. I mean, if it comes out the 8 of spades or the king of spades, how do you know if you're even good?
Here we go to the river. Well, the river's a 3, and queen 10 is good.
Betting 400.
And he's going to bet 400. He was never scared of spades there. And he's going to take it down. It's funny. We were all hanging out with the 2 producers of the poker channel, Emma and Jonathan. And I was telling you a story when I got back the last night I was there about how Jonathan and I played like a little 2-5 at Caesars.
Yes.
And I got pissed off because the dealer called me a retard. Did he tell you the story about that?
You told me the story.
No, I know, but did you?
Yeah, he did. He did.
Like, these guys were the most incompetent people. And then the floor man came over and laughed at me.
Well, at Caesars. Caesars is owned by Harris. And
I couldn't believe it.
You know what? My initial thoughts about Harris have only been confirmed. I've got to tell you. I don't think I've ever seen a more incompetent group than Harris.
Well, I thought you were just kind of crybabying it up in the beginning of the tournament, but I almost have to agree with you now.
They are a bunch of friggin' morons. They have no idea what they're doing.
Make it 60 total.
$60 raise here on the button with
and they're cheap as hell. I'm sorry. They've made how many hundreds of millions of dollars on the World Series Poker? And the media event? The media event, they gave $13,000 out. $13,000? Come Come on, step it up. I mean, that's ridiculous.
We're going to go blind here for this hand. Two people have the same hand here, ace-10 and ace-10.
It's up.
Here we go to the flop. Let's miss both players. Let's see if the button can use that raise and continue with the betting lead here.
Well, you imagine if it gets checked to him, he's going to bet. And I'm not sure if David can continue here, but David's been taking one off.
Betting 100.
Well, what do I know? David's going to bet right into it.
Yeah, ace-10 bets right into it, right into the raiser, who also has ace-10 on the button.
And I got to tell you, David hasn't really shown much strength. He's been pretty much checking, calling all day. So if he's ever going to bet into something, I'm going to give him respect. I'm going to throw my hand away.
7-6-4 with a couple diamonds on the flop. Obviously, both players totally missed. There you go. He's out of there.
Yeah. No, I got to tell you, I'm sorry.
No, I agree. I mean, there should have been probably a main event seat given, and you're not just bitter because you won.
No, that's
right?
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't care about the seat for me. I don't I really could care less if I won anything. Okay? Honestly. I mean, yes, I do think they should have given something, some sort of bracelet or some sort of prize for the winner. But I don't care about that. To me, though, it should have been a $100,000 free roll with all the money going to charity. I mean, Harris can certainly step it up and give at least $100,000. $13,000? Is that a friggin' joke? Who are they kidding? I mean, they made hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, their rake alone on the main event was like $5.6 million. That's before their ESPN rights, their card player rights, Bluff Radio.
Full Tilt worked with card player.
I mean, you're talking
Milwaukee's
about
best.
Milwaukee's best. I mean, all their sponsorships.
Yeah.
That's on top of that. They made $5.6 million. They couldn't give 0.1 of it to charity? Are you friggin' kidding me?
David's going to raise it up here with pocket jacks on the button. Yeah, and he's going to get called here. The raise looked to be about, $40, I'd say?
That's right. It's 5 spots.
So 5-way action. It's a $200 pot. David the raiser with jacks on the button. Well, 2 overcards. Looks like jacks are still in the lead, though.
Yeah, E-Raj is not in there at deuce 7. We're going to get that off the screen in a
Although
second.
RD is in there with king 10. He's got the best hand.
Right, look at Mike's in there with 7-4. Mike called the raise at 7-4 offsuit.
$100 bet here by RD. Boy, it seems like RD plays it really straightforward. And a call by David with jacks. Wow. With 3 people in front of him.
Yeah, unreal.
And now at this point, if you're RD, do you even know where you're at?
Of course not. It's hard to.
Turns at 3.
Oh, look at that. Set of 3s would have come if he stuck around. But I think you have to bet again there because the board is too draw heavy. Remember, if your opponent had Jack 10, if your opponent has spades, you can't afford to give him a free card. I mean, unless you're just going to check and fold and give it up.
$250 bet here.
And David's going to call again.
Wow. And this spot is ballooned to over $700.
Unreal.
And if you're RD, do you think your hand's good right now? And the river is a 3rd spade and it's an ace. And he's just going to push it all in. This guy's fearless right now with king 10.
I tell you, very creative word you use. Fearless?
And David finally releases his hand.
Fearless.
Wow.
I mean, you look at it, you have king 10, right? Now, if your opponent had jack 10, leave that board on for 1 second. Okay, forget it. Take it off. Don't worry about it. If your opponent had jack 10, he got there. If your opponent had spades, he got there. And if your opponent had a king, he probably had you out kicked. I gotta tell you, if I bet on the river, I might put a little blockish bet on the river. I'd probably just check and fold, though, assuming there's nothing I can beat anymore.
Button moves over here to seat 4 to Garland. We kind of had that fun. I was talking about how we kind of had that fun little charity one-table tournament that we did on Monday.
That's what I mean. We gave away like $1,000.
Yeah.
And Harris, 13? Are you kidding me? I was ranting and raving about Harris before the World Series even started, and it will never stop now.
We had a raise here by Phil Yao with pocket 4s. 2 people call.
Well, there's a jack.
Now, how involved is Garland going to get here?
Garland can usually get away from a hand pretty easily.
He's not calling Jack 10 suited to hit a jack.
No, definitely not.
Betting 100.
Now, Al's going to bet 100 here. Once David calls, I assume that Garland is going to easily fold this hand.
Yeah, the only problem is, though,
can you give a lot of credit to what David's doing over there?
You can't really give credit to Al either. Remember, Al's just making a continuation bet.
Right.
So you very well could have the best hand, but you know what? He chooses not to get involved. Nothing wrong with that. Pick a better spot.
Not really that bad of a flop for 4s. The turn's a 6. Although Well, once a guy calls you, what the hell do you think he's calling you with?
Well, I don't mind the bet. You bet one time. Once the guy calls you, you're done with it. And
Al
David's
checks.
going to bet this is over.
And if Al has been paying attention, David has sometimes been calling with kind of an inferior hands, but he hasn't been betting when he hasn't had it.
No,
obviously.
really.
River's an ace.
Ace in the river there. Once again, we are live at the bike. I'm David Tuckman, back from Vegas, here with Bart Hansen. Good to be back. I got to tell you, the one thing I really missed, my dogs.
You were telling me about that at the Kenneth James
It's the only thing
charity thing.
The only thing I really missed. I missed the live at the bike, and I missed my dogs. But since live at the bike was there for about half of the World Series, I really missed my dogs.
Dakota, huh? Is Dakota the gay one?
Did you just say you had ace 3?
Ace Jack. No, he didn't.
Is Dakota the gay one?
No, Dakota's my girl.
Oh.
The gay one is Huck.
That's true. You would have felt much better about not.
Huckleberry Finn.
Button moves over here to seat 5. Limp.
So did you give reports about how the adult poker party girls were?
Somewhat.
Yeah.
I don't really know if there was that much to be reported. Four-way action here. I'll tell you a little funny thing here in a second. King 6-3 here with a couple of spades.
And nobody has a pair. Actually, I'm sorry. Josh has a pair of 3s.
Turns to 7.
Well, now Jack's in the lead. Jack's got a pair of 7s. Mike is now open-ended, though. And how about a little raise here for Mike? Why not raise it up here? I mean, if your opponent has something probably not very strong, why not take it away right now?
Raise.
There it is. He is going to raise.
Well, actually, that's Josh.
Oh, excuse me. Josh is going to raise here with a pair of 3s.
Now, if you're Mike, you can just smooth call. That's all you can really do.
Do you want to make the smooth call, though?
I don't see why not.
2 spades.
Remember, your opponent has actually showed some strength. I think I don't think he's raising on the come here. I think he's raising because he's back in the 2 pair. Remember, he's in the blinds. I think it's more likely the guy has, say, 6-7 or 7-3. And if you were to hit your 10 or your 5, you might get paid off big.
And David calls with a gut shot to the 4 with Queen 5.
Unreal. I'm not going to tell you, 8-9, there's no way I'm laying down 8-9 there.
Here we go to the river. And the river's a queen, and everyone's going to get to see here. And I don't think David's going anywhere. Well, let's see what Josh... Is Josh going to fire one more time?
Betting 130.
He's going to bet 130.
Well,
Somebody's already asked to see both hands here. Well, David was stuck around to try to hit a gut shot. He's backed into a pair, and he's going to call, and he's going to turn this hand over, and this is some super information for the rest of the table.
And I got to tell you, this is the reason I primarily play cash games and not tournaments. I'm sorry. You know, it's funny. We had, who did we have on the air? We were talking about tournament play. And they said they just don't play that many tournaments. Who did we have on there? You actually interviewed him down in Vegas.
Mike Caro.
Yeah, we were talking about why he's not such a big tournament. He was like, I just don't play that many.
Right.
And it's funny when people ask us, you know, Dave and Bart, why aren't you on the tournament leaderboard?
Right.
It's because most of the players you're seeing in the tournament leaderboard, such as Eric Lindgren, players like that, they're playing 150, 200 tournaments a year.
Right.
Where you and I are playing 8 or 9 tournaments a year.
Right, exactly.
Although I'm going to really do my best to try to play in like 6 or 7 Legends events. I really want to try to pick up my tournament game a little bit. I got some confidence after that media win.
We got that great promotion coming up on Saturday with giving away 10 Legend seats.
Is that unreal?
Yeah. Seat 9's raised up. We need to see his cards. Seat number 1 is going to call with Queen 9 of Hearts. I was going to tell you something about Avina Lee. Avina Lee, she was too crazy for me, Dave, when we were at Hard Rock, and she asked if I wanted to split a doobie with her in the middle of the club. I was like, no, that's okay.
Yeah, she was just, you know, she was the kind of girl, you talk to her, and you want to go take a shower.
Yeah. 4-way action here. Queen 8 of diamonds is the raise. Seat 1 call with Queen 9. So both players have top pair here, RD and Mike, and RD right now has got him out kicked. Again, you call a raise with Queen 9. Is that the flop you're looking to hit? Queen 5 Jack with a couple of clubs. It's a $75 bet. There's 4 people in there.
He looks like he's going to raise.
Raise. Make it.
And Garland called the raise with Ace 7 of Hearts.
Well, Garland's not going to call this raise.
No.
Philly Al's out, obviously. And I got to tell you, Mike, I'm assuming Mike's going to fold this. I mean, you've bet $75 into the pot. RD has now raised you to $200. I mean, I got to tell you, Queen 8, it's hitting the muck. I mean, I know there's a lot of draws
Well, you're
out
not
there.
probably going to bring it in for a raise from up front with Queen 8 either.
No, definitely not. But at this point, you've got to realize, okay, I know my opponent could have a straight draw, could have a flush draw, but I'm at a position. This is in a tournament. I don't need to really win this pot.
Well,
do
he
I?
makes the call. This pot is over $500.
And the 9 is going to play. I mean, unless something strange happens.
About a $600 pot, actually. Here we go to the turn. Well, the turn's at 10, and now RD's picked up an open-ended straight flush draw with top pair. And he is way out in front.
Yeah,
He's going to bet 300
Mike
now.
is in terrible, terrible shape. Mike is going to need a 9 that is not... Well, actually, there. He needs a 9 and only a 9 to win
Yeah.
this pot. Now, if a 10 or a jack were to come out... No, he needs a 5, sorry. Or a 10 or a jack to split the pot, right?
Split, right.
Thank you.
As you can see, RD's got about a 67% chance of winning. Mike only has 3 outs to win.
Right.
And then the other, say, 27% of the time... Or excuse me, 27% of the time, or 26% of the time, they're going to chop it.
Exactly. And obviously, the board pairs... If an ace or a king were to come out... Not a king, sorry. If an ace were to come out, they would also chop it up. Remember, it's your best 5 cards and hold them.
An ace at 10.
What the hell can you beat here,
Yeah.
Queen 9? I mean, Queen 8.
And he shows the queen. And he folds. An ace, a 10, a jack.
And the river was the 4 clubs. And
The 9 would have played anyway.
Yes.
You'll find out tonight.
You didn't like Amina Lee?
Very nice girl.
Yeah.
Now, I gotta tell you, the only girl that I really, really cared for, really cared for, was Sunny. I thought she was kind of cool.
You didn't think the other ones were cool?
They were cool.
What
They were
about
okay, whatever.
the blonde-haired one?
They were, whatever, I don't know. No, she's cool. She's got it.
Jeez, Tucker.
I'll put it this way: we both thought we were going to be going there and partying hard with the adult poker whatever that. I
Yeah.
can't even say it anymore.
Adult poker party. Yeah, you
girls.
had trouble with that the whole time you were there.
I know. I always had to look and see what it was.
Yeah.
And we really didn't party at all.
No.
And we didn't want to.
Not really. Yeah. Not really.
But we were partying. I mean, it seemed like every single night there was a party. And there he is. See, look, seat number 5, TC, chewing on his fingers. Now, those bits from his fingers, they will be on the table.
I know, I've seen him
Right
pick
in
them
front-
off before.
Yeah, they'll be in front of seat 5. Little scales.
6 flyer.
It's quite possibly one of the nastiest things I've ever seen. I'm sorry.
6-way action here. 8, deuce, 4 here with a couple clubs.
I gotta tell you, it's good to be back.
Yeah.
I haven't insulted anybody in quite a while.
Betting 40.
I certainly haven't offended anybody in a while, so.
David's going to bet 40 here with 2 overcards. He's actually got King Jack here. The Ronnie McMillan kind of brain fart. Seat 6 is going to call. He's got an open-ended straight draw. Josh is also going to overcall here with top pair.
And I gotta tell you, 10-8 there. I'm not sure. Wow, let's see. 1 is in there as
Yeah,
well.
we can't really see his can.
4
It's got a 6 and a something. I can't say the other one though.
6, 7 of clubs. Oh, he's got
wow.
he's got a big draw. Well, the turn's a 7. Now he picks up a pair, and that gives. No, it doesn't give anybody the straight yet.
No, it doesn't.
8-10 is still in the lead. And now it gets checked to Jack. The turn is a 7, and he's going to bet now. He's going to bet here on the draw. I don't know how Josh is going to call this twice.
No, I gotta tell you, if I'm Josh here, I'm out of his hands. I can't beat 2 pair. I mean, the only
I'm
hand
surprised he even overcalled the flop.
the only hand I can actually beat right now is 8-9.
Yeah.
Right? That's all I can beat.
8-9 or 8-6.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
that.
you almost gotta start manufacturing hands. you
I
can
mean, like
beat.
I said, RD now actually has the lead with the best hand, and he's got a gigantic draw.
Yeah.
He's way out
Jack's in
front.
terrible shape. Jack needs an ace or a 6 that is not a club.
120.
I mean, I can tell you, your hand here is strong enough to raise with. It really is.
And he's going to call.
Now, seat 6 here, Jack had a problem last time. Last time when he missed, he bluffed at it, but he didn't bluff enough. Now, let's keep track. How big is the pot right now?
It's about a $350 to $400 pot, and the
Well, here you
river
go.
is a jack.
He's missed it. RD's
Yeah.
probably going to check. And how much is Jack going to bet? Last time he did this, he bet like $60.
And RD is checked.
Betting 250.
Well, he's going to bet $250.
That's
not,
a nice bet.
That's not a bad bet at all.
That's a nice bet.
And I don't think RD can stand. And the inherent problem with RD is he's just been check calling the whole night, Dave.
And RD has really learned from his last mistake. Last time he only bet about $70 into what was like a $250 bet pot. and got called. This time he puts in a solid bet, and he takes it down. Nice bluff there. I mean, that's one of the big things about poker is everybody makes mistakes. The players that learn from their mistakes and learn quicker than others are the ones that are really going to succeed.
Again, if you're watching us now, you are an archive subscriber.
Congratulations.
If you want to watch this show, only the first half an hour will repeat. You have to watch the show in the archives in its entirety.
Yes.
A lot of confusion about that. People emailing in saying, why aren't we getting all 3 hours of the replay? That's because only 30 minutes of the replay replays.
Right, exactly. We obviously thought it was somewhat counterproductive to start charging for people to see the show, but you can see it free 3 hours later.
Right.
I mean, I'm gonna lie about him now. You guys can
Pocket
catch me in
Kings
there.
here for Garland. Hasn't played many hands. Sure, this is one he's going to play.
And once again, I'm really excited about
Yeah, you can catch me.
what
in
this show, where this show is going. The players that are going to be coming on the show: Vanessa Russo, Erica Schoenberg,
Make it 70.
Genocide.
Erica Schoenberg.
Erica Schoenberg. Right? Actually, David Benjamin, is that his name? Benjamin?
Bendamine, right?
Bendamine? I don't know. Benjamin.
There you go.
Anyway, the French guy
Benjamin.
who was actually dating Erica.
Right.
He's actually promised to be on the show as well.
Right. Well, Garland's raised it up here with Kings. Looks like he made it 75? 70. Yeah, 75. And TC is called with 3-5 offsuit. That's kind of surprising. You wonder if he thinks he's going to make a move to try to get Garland off the hand. Garland's got a monster. Well, David's got pocket fours.
3 players.
We're going to see $225 pawn here going 3 ways.
That should be exciting.
And
Oh,
look at
wow.
TC, and he's hit it. He's got 3-5. Let's see how he's going to play it. What? And look at this. Garland checks the Kings.
Betting.
And TC is going to bet. I love the bet here. And you wonder how involved Garland's going to get here. Because I got to tell you, alarms set off in my head when TC calls. He really plays so tight. Mike, look at this. David calls with fours, and Garland's out of there with Kings. He folds the Kings. That's unbelievable. I think he is scared that TC has aces or queens. I mean, that is a sick laydown. The turn is a 10.
I'm going to go on a limb and say Garland saw TC's hand.
Think so?
I do.
450.
I think TC, when he pulled it back to see his cards,
Yeah.
I think Garland glanced. I think Garland saw it. That's just too freaky a laydown. To just check fold with Kings, that's just too freaky a laydown. I'm sorry.
TC is going to bet 450 here.
I'm going to ask Garland when we're off camera. I'm curious.
And is David going to call again with pocket fours? He makes the call again. He's drawing to 2 outs. This pot is over $1,000, Dave. David doesn't believe that TC would bet with a 5. How about a queen?
What the hell can you beat?
And the river's an ace. And how about another value bet here by TC? And he moves all in. He moves all in now. And unfortunately,
Look at David's like upset.
David thinks the ace killed him. And he's out of there.
I got my money back from you, huh?
This is unreal. This is uncanny.
So you think that Garland saw his hand?
That's my guess. I mean, we always have to.
I mean, that is pretty freaky.
I mean, I can see getting away from Kings there. If
But
you
not
bet,
just check fold.
just check fold.
Well, there was he did check, and then another guy called, but you can't give credit for any guy C3. What he
No,
has.
you can't exactly.
I'm not buying
Him
that for
calling
one
means
second.
nothing.
But moves over here, seat 9.
Did I drink your Red Bull?
No.
I mean, it's just kind of freakish. You always wonder. I think I drank Evelyn's Red Bull.
That one.
I ain't gonna tell you nothing. Are you watching? You gonna watch TV?
Welcome back, David.
I'm gonna go with that.
That is unbelievable, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, once in a while, you just wonder if somebody saw the cards. You know, sometimes obviously if you're sitting next to somebody, it's not like I'm not accusing Garland of cheating, but sometimes it's almost inadvertent.
I don't
You
think
actually
it's
admitted to me
not
that
cheating.
you actually admitted to me that when you were playing against me and we were both drinking a little bit, you saw my hand.
Yeah, but I wasn't telling the truth.
Oh, you didn't see my hand.
No.
Going back and forth.
I thought we made that clear. Now you don't know what to believe. Queen deuce 5 here on the flop.
Jack's got a gut shot. Backdoor spades.
No, I didn't see your hand.
Betting 75.
And $75 bet here at seat 9. Mike is on a pure bluff here. But he's got position. And I got to tell you, you got to be careful about betting here with like a guy like David calling, because you have no idea where you're at. I mean, David is like the new Allen.
I don't slow play and he's still
Is that like New England?
No, it's like the new Allen. You know what I mean? Like,
right?
40 is the new 30.
Takes a lot of talent.
And Mike is in there with ace 8. The turn's 4.
Well, Jack's in the head now. And then it checks around. To the river.
David's open-ended. And the river's a 6, and he makes the straight. Jack's got 2 pair. I mean, it's really just a bluff catcher here.
Well, you wouldn't put somebody on a 3, though, would you?
Guess not. Why? He's going to come out and bet. He's going to bet 100.
Yep, 100.
I mean, unless you think you have 3-4, specifically 3-4.
Well, do you think this guy's going to value bet Queen Jack? And look at this. Jack's going to raise him with 2 pair. He's going to raise it up here, Dave. Well, the only thing that you can't beat 7-8, you can't beat 7-3. Can you just call here? Well, David's going to push. I don't think he's got that much left. And that's probably going to force Jack to call. It's only 80 more, and this is like a circus here.
This is absolutely. I got to tell you, by me being in Vegas for the last 3 weeks, and not really being able to play poker, I actually have not played poker since last Monday, since the Stud High Low event. And I think I probably cost myself thousands of dollars. And watching this has just confirmed that.
I thought you had it on the board. I thought you had Queen.
You call 454 on the
I mean, this is some really, really atrocious poker, isn't it?
Thank you. You did against my aces last time. Last time I played, you caught your.
And I'm still really wondering if like you said, if Garland saw TC's hand.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm not accusing him of cheating at all. Garland's an upfront guy. I don't think Garland would ever cheat. But sometimes somebody peels up their card.
Well, that's not cheating.
No, if somebody peels up their card just a little bit too much, and you happen to see that, hey, you know what? You'd be a fool not to use that information a little bit.
Well, of course.
Right. Now, I will say, though, if it continues on through the night, and this is a guy you play with on a regular basis, and I think if you start deliberately sitting next to him because you know that he does that, then I do think it starts bordering on being a little cheating.
Well, this is interesting because we got some big hands here. Now, open raise here. I think it was by seat 5 with pocket 9s. Seat 6 is going to re-raise with ace 10. Seat 2's got queens, and Garland has jacks.
Now, Garland's got
and the re-raiser is ace 10.
Now, Garland's got to pay attention to E-Raj here, because E-Raj has not played many hands all night long. We are an hour into the show.
He's just going to call, though, Dave.
Well, he's out of position with queens, and I think that'll bring Garland in.
And I guess Garland just limped up front with jacks. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
He just, unless he's straddled, I couldn't quite tell.
And I think it's an easy
and
just call.
David calls with deuce 4 of diamonds.
And this is, you're looking for a set or nothing.
And remember, TC brought this one in with 9s. Jack is the re-raiser with ace 10. 5-way action, $500 pot. And
Re-raise ace 10.
The bet leader here is Jack with ace 10 from up front. Here we go to the flop. E-Raj with the best hand.
Well, not anymore.
Look at this. Top set for TC, overpair for Garland, overpair for E-Raj.
TC might chew his thumb off with this hand.
Betting 100.
E-Raj is going to come out and bet 100. He's going to bet 100 into a $500 pot. Well, and David's going to call with a gut shot to the 3. Now what does Garland do with jacks?
It's unreal. I got to tell you, if I'm Garland, I'm throwing my hand away.
I mean, it's so peculiar. You don't know what the guy to your right has.
No,
this guy's kind of bet so small on the flop.
I throw this away, and I like the laydown. This is a good laydown. You've got to realize you are in a spot there where I'm either going to raise it or I'm going to fold, and I don't like my hand enough to raise.
And TC looks like he's going to raise it up here. He's trying to figure out how much he's going to raise.
All
He's just moving in.
17, 18.
He's not even screwing around with the pot. He's just moving in.
TC is one of those guys, he's always kind of scared of getting sucked out on.
Yeah, he really I mean, not necessarily overplays, but he will really just
1950.
basically move in.
Yeah.
He doesn't really finesse a pot at all.
I've almost never seen him bluff like that. He'll bluff, but he'll bluff small. He won't bluff like that. He's not going to risk his stack on a bluff, which is what most players do. How many players do you ever see that are willing to risk $2,000 on a bluff? There are very few.
Well, this is a relatively easy laydown here for E-Raj, isn't it?
Of course, remember TC was the
Well,
the
he
only
did get
thing is-
re-raised, so you might think, well, would he do this with 10s or jacks? But that's all you can beat here, 10s or jacks.
Well, that's the problem, though, is...
How about ace-king of clubs?
Well, let me ask you
Did
this.
we make a big semi-bluff with that?
You know he doesn't have kings or aces, right? Because he probably would have re-raised it pre-flop.
Right.
So you've got to start thinking, okay, I can't beat 9s, I can't beat 6s, I can't beat 5s. I can beat, say, I can't beat 7-8, per se.
He's just not going to get involved.
Yeah, and I don't mind it. Now, obviously, it's a real tough laydown for David, but he's going to lay it down also.
Slow play better, man.
Well, that's good. TC's going to win himself about a $700 pot if he shows the top set. But again, you wonder, like I said, if he finessed that a little bit more. it was a bet and the call was a $700 pot. How about you make it, Dave?
Wow, look at this. No, if he finessed the pot anymore, though, the turn was the 6 of diamonds. I'm sorry, the turn was the 8 of diamonds, and the river was the 7 of diamonds. And David would have backed him for flush.
And David probably wouldn't have gone anywhere on the turn.
Of course not.
But the point I'm trying to make is that probably the right play there is maybe to raise it 500. You make the call as an $800 pot. You raise it 500. Now it's 1,300.
Right. You can even make it 800 more if you want to.
Yeah.
But moving all in, obviously, you're driving out those pocket queens, which is what you don't want to drive out. Right. If you make it 600 more, I think you probably you might get a call from the queens, and you might get deuce 4 diamonds out of there anyway. So once again, Legends of Poker is going on. All the tournaments actually start at 4:15 p.m. And I would recommend, if you want to play in the No Limit Hold'em events, I would recommend that you get here at least an hour before, or you can pre-register if you go over to the Bike's website. That would be thebike.com. You don't want to get stuck. If you get down here at 4 o'clock and you got to find parking and then get in here, you might end up sitting on line for 40 minutes and you might miss the first half of the first level, which is not something you really want to do, obviously.
Mike's going to raise it up there with 9s.
But we should have, Legends of Poker, we're going to have, $10 million in prizes by the end of it all? Should be insane. Obviously, our finale, the World Poker Tour. And,
And Dave, how about the Low Ball World Championship on Thursday?
I think I might play that.
Single draw ace to 5.
Oh, I can't play that. Well, actually, I probably could play that. I'd probably be done by 7 o'clock. I have no doubt.
I wonder if I can maybe play in the Omaha on Monday and see if I get knocked out.
Hey, give it a shot.
Before 7 o'clock. $500.
I'll back you.
Oh, okay.
Take a blind.
Really a strange World Series for us, and me especially. The fact that I only played in 3 events. Really weird. I really had kind of circled 8 or 9 events to play, and I was definitely going to play in the main event. And it just got to the point where, between my commitments to Live at the Bike and between working with the Poker Channel over the UK, I just was not focused at all on poker.
Now, there's a couple other things going on here at Legends that I find interesting. One of the biggest complaints about the ladies event was the ladies event, the person that won the open to the public ladies event, which I think was either 100 or 200 no limit, they got a seat into the one that's televised on
the
WPT.
6-person one.
But it used to be, it would be the next day, and it would film at 2 p.m. And they were up until 7 in the morning.
Right.
Before.
Obviously,
I've seen they've staggered that to a couple weeks before.
Well, that's good.
And I've also noticed that the Legends of Legends Media Invitational, which was kind of a donk fest last year that we all 3 of us played, Shirley, you and I, they've invited all the prior Legends champions to play in as well.
Yeah.
And it's written here that only the seat is going to the person who finishes the deepest, who's the former Legends champion, as opposed to the winner of that event. Very strange if you read down below here.
Yeah, highest placing legend will win the 10K WPT seat. And $2,500 donated to his or her favorite charity.
Does that mean the winner of the tournament doesn't get a seat?
I don't know. Apparently not.
Garland in here with ace, queen of hearts, king, jack here for Mike.
So basically, which means if I can play and there's nothing at stake, I will clearly win that event too.
You raised him with what?
I don't know, ace something, like ace 2.
Flop is king, 7-4, a couple of diamonds out there. Mike's got the best hand here. And we're going to see this 3 ways here. Iraj actually called here with the diamond draw. Turn is a 5. Now seat 9, Mike, he's got the best hand. He's going to bet again. David's sticking around there with. Well, now he's actually open-ended with a pair. He could catch a 6, a 7, or an 8 or a 4 that is not a diamond. And Iraj obviously thinking of what to do here with his diamond draw. He's not going to get involved anymore. He throws it away. Probably worried that maybe somebody else has a higher one. But that's not going to dissuade David. He's going to call this. And we're going to see a river. And the river is
the queen. Mike is safe.
Yep, changes nothing.
King.
Check here.
And, it's funny. Normally, I don't like to bet there because you almost want to give your opponent a chance to bluff at it if they miss with their diamond draw. But in that one case against that particular player, he might be in there with a weak king. He might be there with a 7, and I might bet for value and see if I can get a call.
I think the way that this is worded, and I wonder if we're streaming the final table like we did last year, this year also. the Media Invitational, if you remember last year.
We'll see.
I think they're giving away a $10,000 Legend seat to the first place winner, as well as another $10,000 seat to the deepest placing Legends of Legends.
Well, the Bicycle Casino is a class casino, and they're probably going to. I mean, the funniest thing is the Legends of Poker, the Bicycle Casino. There's no endorsements. We don't really, you know, what I mean, it's not like we're selling our souls to everybody and their mother. Yet, this media event, they're probably going to give away $25,000 in prizes.
Right. And the funniest thing, you didn't even know the half of it. You didn't tell the rest of the story about that media event. How Ronnie McMillan had to help me out to even get in the event.
Right, because they had a line around the corner.
Well, I'll tell you in a second. We'll get to it after this hand, yeah. And people were pissed off, too.
It should be.
Ace 4 deuce. That's the case ace here on the flop.
Yeah, now Eraj is actually in good shape here. David's in really bad shape here because the kicker problem is Rio with the 4 and the deuce out there.
Eraj is going to bet 40, and we know that David's not going anywhere.
The likelihood is that the 8 will play.
That's going to get Jack out, obviously. Turns a queen.
I gotta tell you, I continue to bet this ace 8 against David.
We could be calling easily with 3-4, 4-5.
And he could be calling with king deuce. I have no idea what he has.
He's going to bet 80.
And I'm going to keep it. I'm not going to make a big bet, 80. And on the river, I'm going to bet another like 125.
He makes the call.
And I'm going to get called.
Pot is like 300 now. And the river is a third spade.
And Eraj is going to play. And the 8 plays.
Yeah, it's going to probably go check. Well, check.
And you know what? If you're Eraj, you're going to realize that you probably cost yourself about $100.
Well, third spade there on the river kind of... If he's calling you with an ace, there isn't a whole lot that you could beat.
I mean, I know obviously we're privy. We see what David is playing here, but the table's got to realize this guy's calling everybody on every hand.
So, to register for the media event, this is after 5 emails that the lovely Kelly O'Hara sent out for us so that we could get in the tournament because they never made it clear how you were to get into the tournament.
Right.
You were supposed to line up over in the not the Fontana room, the hell is it called? The Rio Convention Center over, I don't know, some convention center over at the Rio.
It was like the carnival
Masquerade.
area. The Masquerade Carnival room,
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah. And so there was like a half an hour line. You got there early, got there. I started getting in line. All of a sudden, they start this press conference with Jeffrey Pollack, and they decide that they're not going to give out any seats while the press conference is going on.
Well, the joke of it all was they made you go over there to get your seat assignment because they wanted the press and the media to go there for their press conference. It was Hara's way of manipulating you so you had to go to the press conference.
And they stopped handing the seating cards out during the press conference.
Got a new player in seat number 8. His name's Aaron.
Look at this. Eraj has brought it in for a raise from up front. And Josh is going to re-raise out of the small blind with pocket 8s. Eraj calls. And here we go to the flop.
Oh,
Eraj's got a set. Bad flop for 8s, but Josh is going to be forced probably to bet out here.
Well, that's the problem. Josh has got no money. How much money does Josh have?
That's maybe 150? No, maybe 125. He's going to push all in. It's an easy call for Eraj.
Yeah, obviously. I call. Thank you for the gift.
Josh is going to need to catch running something. 8s, running diamonds. Oh, he could catch a diamond now. No, river's a 10. And he shows the 8s. Boy. I wish sometimes, I got to tell you, I've had a really, really bad streak the last week and a half. Probably the worst ever since I've been playing when I started in February in the full time in No Limit Cash games. I wish you could be playing on tables like this. Sometimes you wish.
You can play on tables like this. Remember, you're not propping anymore. You can choose the table you play at.
Well, right.
That's the whole point of the game.
The tables here, though, during the day weren't necessarily playing like this.
I mean, maybe at that point, though, I mean, I always get those questions going, you know, the players I'm playing against are tough. I don't know what to do. Change your schedule around. If the games during the day aren't very good, then change your schedule and play after the show. And if the games aren't good then come in the morning. Get up at 6 in the morning and come then. You know, whatever you want to do, you got to find the good game. We talk about it all the time, game selection obviously being so important. You know, if you were in a game with, say, players like me, you would lose most often. But if you play with players like this...
And vice versa, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Honestly, yeah, vice versa. I have no interest in playing with 8 players that are like you. You know what I mean? Why do I want to play? Think about it. Maybe 15 to 20% of players actually make money playing poker, right? Why do I want to play with those 15%?
Right.
I don't mind if 1 or 2 of them at the table, but I don't want 7 of them there.
King 5 deuce here with a couple clubs limped around.
But it's one of the things I'm always amazed at when you think about the big game in Vegas, and you see Doyle Brunson, Jennifer Harmon, and Daniel Negreanu, and all these players in there, and Gus Hansen, and, David Behenemy, whatever his name is. And you see all these players, and you go, who's losing? Somebody's got to be losing. Who's the loser in this game?
Well, supposedly they have kind of randomish people hop into that game every occasionally.
It's
almost like a bottom feeder, like pros, like hop into that game that don't normally play at that level, and kind of.
You wonder. It's kind of funny when we were kind of joking about with Joe and Gavin Smith and Scott Huff on the circuit. Anybody that missed that, Bart and I were on the circuit about a week ago, and we were talking about Barry Greenstein and
his game selection.
Yeah, well, the funny thing is Gavin was kind of making fun. He goes, "Yeah, Barry's great. Look at his game selection.
Yeah,
he plays with the greatest players in the world on a daily basis. Now, obviously, he doesn't have a choice. If you're going to play 4,000, 8,000, you've got to. It's not like a game every day at every corner." The funny thing is, I'll get to this right after the hands.
Limped around 5 ways. Haven't seen the crazy pre-flop racing we saw in the beginning of the show. David's got Jack 10. Garland's got him out kicked. Let's see how Garland's going to play this hand. Garland actually is not in the hand. He folded Big Jack. That's I guess you could say I mean, there were 3 people after him. I guess he's in mid position.
Nothing wrong with that. Queen Jack offsuit and kind of mid-illish position. I have no problem throwing that away. That's a hand that can get you in trouble out of position.
They were talking about Min Lai. He plays in the big game now, and he basically would step up there, go broke, build back up, step up there, go broke, keep building back up.
Right.
And now he's kind of kind of a permanent fixture.
He's doing a little better up there,
yeah. Level, yeah.
It's funny, though. Okay, obviously over the last week, I've been spending a lot of time working the World Series, doing interviews over at the Rio, and then I go over to the Bellagio and hang out there and see what's going on. To me, it was more exciting, actually, at the Bellagio, because all the names were there.
Oh, yeah.
At the Rio, there was nobody I recognized. Although I got to tell you, I have the utmost respect for Joseph Hashim. Joe is such a nice guy. He gets knocked out, gets pocket aces cracked, and gets knocked out, I think, 233rd. And all he did was shake hands, got up from his seat, said good luck to everybody.
Pocket aces pre-flop.
Yeah, he had pocket aces, the other guy had pocket jacks.
Ace King 4 here with a couple of clubs. Now Iraj is going to come out and bet here with the ace. Is Mike going to get involved here with King 9? I'll tell you another guy that really got the shaft was Jason Strasser. If you're familiar with him, he plays a lot of online. He had aces that lost to Ace King, and he had 9s that lost to pocket 8s, and he would have been the chip leader. 2 horrific beats.
I mean, you look at Dimitri Nobles. Dimitri Nobles, the story of him. Now, he's obviously since been knocked out, but he was a chip lead after the first couple of days and really finished high. On the first day, he was all in with pocket jacks against pocket queens, and the guy with pocket queens flopped the set.
Now look at this. Irash bet out and Mike raised. And can Irash even continue on here? The pot was limped around.
Now Mike is one of those you can see right away. He's kind of a tournament aggressive player. We've already seen him on occasion making moves. And I think if you're Irash, you probably have to throw this away. Not much you can beat, and you're out of position. And he's going to get rid of it, and I don't mind them laid out at all.
And the 2 guys that we were sweating, both have been on the show, Paramjit Gill and Walt Schaefer. Walt's kind of the guy we make fun of because he kind of complains a lot on the show.
And sure enough, I was sweating while I was sweating Gill.
Yeah.
Gill was playing with Walter at the same table.
Yeah.
Walter had complained about a couple of things
while
I was there.
Classic.
But Gill, we
actually got on Walter. He was on the show a couple weeks ago, right?
Gill's actually a great guy. I've become pretty good friends with Gill. He's actually put me in a couple of tournaments over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Really a great guy, and I was sweating him, and I was really, really rooting for him to do well.
The nature of the beast.
And unfortunately, he got knocked out.
Walt
with pocket sixes. Got beat by ace-5 spades.
Walt was telling me, because he was there with Bodog, and they didn't have that many qualifiers, maybe a handful, like 60 or 70 or something like that. So everybody knew each other. That on one of the opening hands, one of the qualifiers called all in the first hand of the tournament with pocket 3s and beat another guy who had deuce 5 who pushed in under the gun. A guy moved in with deuce 5 and the guy called with pocket 3s in the first
Really?
round of the tournament. Yeah. Jack has got King Jack suited here.
In front of you this time.
Ace 5 ace here.
And if Jack were to play this hard, he'd probably take it down. We can't see seat 1's cards right now.
Well, I think he's got a 5 here, so he might not be going anywhere. Jack's got the nut flush draw. Seat 1 calls.
And
Can I have that seat before it sits down? Hello.
Change the seat.
Oh, he's got pocket fives, Dave. He's flop bottoms full.
Well, there you go.
And Jack is drawing dead here. He check called. Turn is a 3, and it goes check, check.
Well, actually, check, and then he's going to bet here. And I like the bet. You're building yourself a pot. And if the guy has a spade draw or an ace, there's no reason not to bet this, right?
Yeah. And actually, he did bet the flop. Excuse me. Actually, because Jack was out of position. It went check, call, bet the flop, bet the turn. The river's a 9, and Jack's missed.
And unfortunately for RD, Jack did not catch his spade, because had he caught a spade, he really could have bet here. And I got to tell you, I'm over betting this.
And that's what he did.
Actually, no, he only bet like 250.
The funny thing is, it was good.
I got to tell you, I'm moving all in there on the
It was
river.
extra good.
Because think about it, if the guy has spades, he's not going to call even a $10 bet, right?
He's trying to slow play like ace king and thinks he's going to check raise the river.
If he has any ace at all, he's going to call my all-in bet.
You know, I was
know that.
telling Barry Woods, and I don't think I got a chance to tell you this. He misplayed a hand last week in the afternoon.
Whoa, wait a second.
I know.
Barry
Isn't that
Woods
big news?
misplayed a hand?
How many people
Oh
are
my
lucky
God.
enough to raise out of the small blind with pocket threes? Get 5 callers. He raises out of the blind with pocket threes. Gets 5 callers. He raises 70. $350 pot, and the flop comes ace, ace 3. He check calls the flop. He gets a check on the turn from a guy with ace king because the turn came out a queen and the guy was scared of pocket queens or ace queen. And the river, he throws a $150 bet out and the guy calls him. And he doesn't understand why he played it so badly. He doesn't get it. Like, you
Yeah.
raise with pocket threes
Man.
and you flop bottoms full with 5 people in there, ace, ace 3?
You know,
Are you kidding me?
You know what's funny, and this
Oh.
this kind of furthers your point. Flop comes out here, jack high, and Garland's in great shape here.
Yeah, with the ace jack.
Now, the funny thing is, now Garland's going to put a little bet out there, and that, well, you never know. It should get it done, but it probably won't at this table. I was in the full tilt hospitality room for much of the night.
Look at this, jack is called here. And we're going to see a raise here. A bottom 2 pair here. Yeah, there it is. Mike's got 8-5. So Jack, he made the call with a gut shot with 2 hearts, and Mike is raised, bottom 2. And is Garland going to continue on here? It's a pretty big raise. The pot was kind of limped around. Wasn't a big raise pre-flop. And there's Ernie Schaefer coming in
Wow.
C5.
Now, Ernie Schaefer, he is a professional poker player.
Yeah.
He's an excellent player. He's very good at those mixed games, Omaha, stud high-low. He normally plays, say, 61-20 or even higher mixed games. Excellent player.
He finished on the bubble in a WPT event. I think he got 7th. He was right out of, I don't know if it was at Borgata earlier this year or what.
Excellent, really an excellent player.
He's been on the show
Ernie there.
from last year. He's good friends with Yana, kind of as a side note.
We won't hold that against him.
Well, Garland's got a decision to make here. He's gotten raised. There's a caller in between. Can you give credit to any of these guys?
Well, the problem is, could your opponent have 6-7? Could your opponent have 9-10?
And he's going to re-raise, Dave.
Wow, see, I got to tell you, I'm probably check calling, and then I probably lead out on the turn when a safe card comes.
Looks like he's going to make it another 400 more.
And I got to tell you, if you're Mike here, why not just move all in? Unless you want a smooth call at one time, see what comes on the turn. I don't think Garland's making this move with a draw, though. Not the way he's been playing.
Like I said, I missed, though, pre-flop. If it was raised pre-flop, I think it was just limped around.
It was just limped around.
Yeah, so, I mean, Garland could have Jack 8, he could have Jack 5. I got to tell you, now, Garland probably wouldn't make this move with Ace Jack to me, because if I raise him, he probably knows I'm doing it with something better than Ace Jack. But you look at there, you don't beat Jack 8, you don't beat Jack 5. You've got the worst 2 pair that you can have here.
Yeah, you definitely do.
Garland's bet, you've raised it, now he's re-raised. It wouldn't be out of the realm to just lay it down here to Garland.
No, you're right. It definitely wouldn't. I mean, especially if you dismiss the fact that Garland is not going to make this move with a draw.
Yeah.
If Garland's not going to make this move on the come, then you got to start thinking, going, well, the only hand I can beat here is Ace Jack or maybe the Ace of Hearts.
Right. Garland has moved over the top. Looks like another,
Actually,
450
Garland could have, and I'll give you a hand, that's a very possibility. How about Ace Jack of Hearts, or Queen Jack of Hearts, or King Jack of Hearts?
How about 6-7 of hearts, too? I mean, I guess
I don't think Garland does.
You don't think he would do it with that?
I think he needs a hand.
Yeah.
I think he needs a hand and a draw, maybe, or a big hand. Just playing with Garland and watching him on the show, he's been on more than about a dozen times now. I just don't see it. Give Mike credit for taking some time with this, though.
Well, the pot right now is about, I want to say, somewhere around 900 or 1,000, about 400 or 500 to call. Bet, raise, re-raise, and he's really taking time with this one.
Well, obviously, he's going to call this. Obviously, you've really got to be aware of the fact that the top card, the Jack, is not a heart. He could easily have top pair and a flush draw.
Looks like maybe it was only 300 more. I'm looking for some help there out on the floor.
And I don't think Mike can go anywhere now. Mike's only got $300 left.
Oh, now he fills up. Now he fills up. Again, the pot's about, I want to say, 1,100.
That's a good guess there. Real good guess.
And Garland's just going to bet put him all
He
in
bets
for
500 and
He needs a jack to win here. Here we go to the river. The river's a 7, and Mike's going to win it there.
yeah.
Now, did Garland overplay that a bit, you think? With some of these guys?
It's tough at this
We just
table.
saw the guy raise with King 9 before.
That's the thing. It's tough, obviously. It's one of those things that you've got to realize, though, when you're playing with guys that are so ultra aggressive. Yeah, you do want to make a stand at some point, but you've got to realize that, these kind of guys, they get hands also. And he easily could have had 2 pair there.
So we were out on the Barry Woods topic.
Oh, right.
Yeah, we got cut off. Yeah.
I was going to say, okay. So I was hanging out in the Full Tilt Hospitality Suite for quite a while, and I got to watch all their commercials, all their advice shows. Anyway, so I heard there was one thing about slow playing, and the most amazing thing, and I have a lot of respect for most of the Full Tilt players. I really do. I mean, they've really got an accomplished group of players there. None of them were talking about, what are the pluses and minuses of slow playing. Phil Gordon said correctly, he even said, he goes, there's got to be a reason why you're slow playing. It's not just because you have a big hand. There's got to be something else there. Why am I slow playing?
Right.
But nobody mentioned, and I know Howard Lederer has mentioned this in the past, but he didn't mention it on the show, nobody mentioned that sometimes you don't want to slow play because it might kill your action. You don't necessarily, you're still going to win the hand, but you might get less paid off less,
right.
And that's exactly what happened to Barry Woods in that case, with 3s full.
Yeah. The guy was scared of pocket queens or ace queen. I mean, I can see how somebody, for pot control, you might think, well, how do you check ace king when the board's ace, ace 3? Well, if it gets checked to me and I bet, and 2 people call, and the turn's a queen, it gets checked to me again, it's not out of the realm of possibility to actually check ace king there on a non-draw heavy board.
No, I actually think it's a great check, because you got to look at it this way. If the guy doesn't have pocket queens,
right,
and doesn't have an ace in his hand, you are not going to get called.
Right.
Now, if he has an ace in his hand, he's probably got ace king or ace queen.
Right.
Okay, well, you're either tying or you're losing. And remember, if he checks 2 on the river, at that point you can always put a little bet in there. I want to control the pot there.
Right. Which you don't normally want to do with trips, but we always talk about with trip aces are kind of a different type of trip situation than any other trip card.
Well, no, it's also the situation is different because Barry raised out of the blind.
Right.
So you've got to put him on a hand. Now remember, if he has pocket kings, if you bet, he's not going to call you anyway.
But you almost...
Probably not, at least.
Right.
You never know with Barry Woods.
Jack 7 Jack here on the flop. We had a raise here by Ernie. He raised it to 60 out of the small blind with ace 10. Really? Wow.
Well, Ernie's been playing at the World Series, and he's here at the Bike playing Legends, and you wonder, he doesn't normally play no-limit cash games. At least I haven't seen him in very many.
Well, David is going to, David's not going anywhere here with 5-7.
Oh, that's like the nuts, man. Are you kidding me?
I mean, Ernie's going to put out, looks like a $225 bet here.
Now, obviously,
$250.
Ernie is not familiar with the way David plays here.
Right. He's going to quickly find out if David makes his call and wins it with 5-7, though.
Well, Ernie's got cards. Obviously, catch a 10 or an ace.
Some sort of running high pair possibility will also counterfeit David. Say running 9, something like that.
And David's going to call.
And David's going to call. And now if you're Ernie, you look over at David's stack, and boy, he doesn't have much left. What's your move now?
Oh, I put him on a jack, actually. Well, actually, he's moving all in. I'm sorry.
What is it? What did you have?
Well, how much more? Ernie's asking how much more it is. Well, it's 150 more here.
You might be pot committed if you put your opponent on a 7.
Yeah, well, if you don't think he has a jack.
If you think he'd slow play the jack and bet on like a 7 or say pocket 5.
The pot is $800, $150 to call. So if you think he has a 7 or something like pocket 9s, I think you can call.
Well, that's the thing.
And he does call. He does make the
He's
call.
getting more than 5 to 1.
Well, the turn's a 10. He's got a straight draw now. Oh, the river's a 6, but 5-7's going to win.
Yeah, he needed a 9 there, or a 10, or an ace to win it. Doesn't come. Once again, we're live at the Bike. I'm David Tuckman, here with Bart Hansen.
And the funny thing about Barry Woods is now, a lot of times he always comes up to me and he always says, "You guys rag on me all the time. You're constantly ragging on me. Can't you give me credit for anything that I do?
I do give him credit sometimes.
I always tell him that too.
I actually think Barry's a pretty good player, but he makes mistakes at sometimes inopportune times.
I have never seen a clear-cut case of how you would not want, what am I trying to say? You would always want to play a big pot if by some godly reason you raise out of the blind with pocket 3s and you flop bottoms full with 2 aces on board. You can't ask for anything bigger than that.
No, that's a beautiful place because you know somebody has to have an ace here.
5 people in there?
You have to know somebody's got an ace here and you want to start building a pot. I mean, we also go back to the point. I had a significant hand. Anyone wants to check out my blog on the left-hand side of the screen, Under the Gun, with David Zuckman.
Right.
I had a significant hand with Barry Woods. We've talked about it on the show before, where I had pocket aces in the blinds. He had pocket eights.
And he would have had all your money if you played it correctly.
Well, the funny
right?
thing is that when I joke around with him, and obviously Barry and I are friends, and I have a lot of respect for him as a person. He's a really good guy. But he always riffs me about it. He goes, "Hey, man, I took all your money when I had pocket eights." How difficult is it really to take somebody's money in a heads-up pot when they have aces and you have pocket
Wow,
seven
look at
eights?
this. RD's flopped the full house, and David's got trip sixes. Jack has an overpair. And Jack is going to come out and lead with pocket eights here. 7-6-6. This is an action flop. Let's see what RD is going to do. Is he just going to call? Would this be one in time where it's so draw heavy that you would just call here and not try to drive out the draws?
Yeah, I don't mind this at all. Remember, these players are not ultra deep.
Right.
I don't need to raise this right away. I want players in there with hearts. I want somebody in there with, say, 8-9. Even somebody in there with 8-10. Maybe they'll get lucky.
And
Well,
he just called.
unlucky, so to speak, really.
And like I said, I actually, I rarely will slow play, but in this case, with such a draw-heavy board, this might be a time to call next to act with 7-6.
Not a bad play.
Again, we
at all.
talk about slow playing. For what reason are we slow playing here on this flop?
Exactly. You're looking for a heart, you're looking for a 9, you're looking
Yeah.
for a 5, something like that to come off and hit. Now, David...
And David thinks he's slow playing.
Exactly.
This is a time where you probably would raise with that hand and drive out the draws.
Well, I'd want to raise and define my hand a little bit as well.
Yeah. But he
Remember,
thinks he's got the stone
if my
cold
opponent
nuts.
has a 6, I'm in really bad shape.
Well, now the funny thing...
Oh, that's a perfect card for you. Look at that card.
Yeah, but the funny thing here is look what's happened, though. And I'm not saying David's going to get away from it. If you had raised and got all the money in with 6-4, now a guy might get away from 6-4 because the third heart has come.
No, definitely.
It's another side to the story.
Right, I don't mind the play, though, with 7-6. You slow play it a little bit. I'm not that deep. Now I can start building a pot. Now, if somebody had 8-9 or if somebody had hearts, I can really punish him.
Well, now he's just called again, though. A bet, a call, and
Yeah.
David has overcalled
See,
again.
now I've got to raise it up because if somebody has the hearts, I want to start building the pot.
Oh, and the river is, and that is, and RD is basically, we said he has slow played himself to the point where he might not receive any action here on the river at all.
And that's the problem with this play now. If he raises on the turn, hoping somebody's hit the hearts, what's going to happen is you're going to get a call from David with 6-4, and let's say Jack actually had the heart draw or hearts. You're going to get a big call from him as well, or even a re-raise. But now you've slow played it, and, now you're not going to get paid
David gets away from the trip sixes.
Yeah. And
So
that's-
funny how we talk about by him slow playing on both streets, he's allowed himself to be totally killed by the action on the cards here.
Now, Jack actually had, I want to say, 3 outs. He could have caught an 8 to win that pot or the 9 of hearts to win that pot.
And Jack calls anyways. He calls with the 8 of hearts here. And RD flops over a full house. He takes down $1,000 pot.
Nice hand.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, as a poker player, I love to see that because not only did he slow play it, but he thinks he played it well.
Right.
And he'll continue slow playing it like that. And once I see somebody slow play it like that, it gives me so much information. It tells me so much about how they play, what kind of player they are. And I'm now armed with that information. I love playing against these guys.
I just got handed a note. Compliment Barry's shoes. Oh,
And he's
yeah.
got some nice shoes.
Yeah, he does. I think they bought out the stock of those Puma-colored sneakers at the Ferrari shop. What is that, at the Wynn? Or at
I don't know. I saw Mo wearing them too. I was like, oh my god, you gotta be kidding me. Mo had like bright yellow shoes on. I thought he like stepped in a lake of mustard or something. It was like that yellow bright mustard too. Anyway, back to that hand with Barry Woods. The funny thing is that he's been ripping me about losing money to him. Now, just to preface the hand, I had pocket aces. He had pocket eights. I raised it to $400, re-raised to $400 pre-flop.
Out of the blind.
He called me, right.
Yeah.
So the pot's $1,000 already with aces. The flop came out 8 high, 8-6-4. Okay? I would challenge anybody not to lose some money with pocket aces there.
Right.
The fact of the matter is I had about $5,000 in front of me, and Barry only got 3 of it. How he left me with $2,000, I have no idea.
Well, he checked the turn is what happened. He called your
I
bet.
I bet the flop.
Yeah.
He called me. The turn came out a king, and that actually kind of scared me a little bit because I thought he might have kings or queens. I checked, and he checked. And then the river was only a $2,000 bet at the end. That was it.
Now, it looked like Mike raised it here with pocket 9s out of seat 9. He made it 75 to go, so it's 225 here 3 ways.
Bet one.
And Mike is going to bet here. It looks like just 100. Well, 8, 9 of clubs. Jack's got a gut shot to the 10. Not going to get involved. And we are halfway through the show. Again, we having a little bit difficulty with our internet here, so I haven't been able to answer the emails or follow the thread. But thanks everybody for watching. We're playing 5-10 no limit hold'em. Yellow chips are $5 chips, quarters are 25s, white chips are $100 chips.
I want to call that a big fat.
Button moves over here to seat 7. That's TC's moved over there to seat 7. Pro poker player Ernie Schaefer there in seat 5. I think Ernie's a Utahian. How would you say that? It's a guy from Utah. Utonian? Utonian? Born and raised. Salt Lake City, I believe. Or Provo, I don't remember. I had a conversation with him a couple years ago about that. And this one's going to get chopped up. Button moves over here to seat 8. Utonian? Utahian? Udi? Utite? He's a Utite. What the Utah, the college, the University of Utah, what is their football name? I bet you Ernie would know. Maybe Donna can ask him. Help me out. Button moves over here to seat 8. What is the college name of Utah, their sports teams?
What's your college?
No, the Utah college name, he knows. Utes, right?
BYU? BYU.
BYU?
No. Ace Queen of Hearts here for Garland. Yes, the BYU is the Cougars. I know that, but that wasn't the question I was looking for. It's okay. We got a couple big hands here. David's got Ace Queen of Hearts. He limps in. RD's got Ace King of Diamonds. And Jack's got Queen 7 of Clubs. And we got a raise here. I want to say, was it by Garland?
Yeah, who raised? I did.
Garland raised with Ace Jack.
4.
Jack calls. RD calls.
With the hand.
And here we go. We got a $300 pot here going 4 ways. And Jack 5-4. Garland outflops everybody. He had the worst of it, and he hit his top pair. He's got about 600 left. Let's see how much he's going to bet. Probably 250. He's going to bet 225, it looks like. Yeah, 225. But nice bet. And everybody's missed here. Tuckman, maybe he can help me when I come back in here into the room. I don't know. I don't know what David... Is David thinking about just taking one off here with Ace Queen? He's going to take one off, and we know what the inherent problem of that is. If he hits his ace, it's no good, and Garland's got a $225 gift, plus what extra he can make if David picks up a heart draw. Well, he doesn't pick up anything. Turns a 4. This probably should go check fold now. It's about a $700 pot. Garland's going to move in. Like I said, you wonder if David picked up
Where's all
ace.
Garland's money? Oh, he lost it with the ace
It's
jack.
all in the pot now.
No, but he lost a lot with the ace jack,
Yeah.
though. He doubled up Michael before.
Floor man.
So remember, he had doubled up with the aces earlier.
Yeah.
Cocktails. We call cocktails.
And Garland's all in here. Pot's about 1,000, about 350 to call, 400 to call. My question was,
Yes.
what are the college teams for Utah? What is the sports teams? Is it the Utes?
That's one of them, yeah.
The University of Utah, what's the name? Do you not know?
Utah.
Like Indiana is the Hoosiers.
No, I know that. I'm trying to think. University of
Oklahoma's the Sooners.
Utah. I believe it is the Utes.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we do not have internet access.
Right.
Once again, I love one of my favorite things about Live the Bike is the fact that the show is interactive.
And look at this, David's going to make the call anyways for $400.
And he needs a queen and only a queen.
He needs a queen and only a queen. Garland's been given a $1,500 gift here.
Yeah.
This is unbelievable.
Why wouldn't you? Let me get a
David needs a queen and only a queen. And Garland's got to think this guy probably has a weak jack, right? Well, the river's an 8, and Garland gets a big gift. He's going to double through.
Unreal.
And he shows the ace-queen. He shows it, Dave.
And Garland taps the table like, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Nice play. I love doing that. You tap the table kind of like, hey, man, I know what you're doing, okay? I would have done the same thing you did.
No, I was just
Psycho.
I was remembering I had this discussion with Ernie Schaefer. He's actually from Utah, one of the few people I know.
Really?
Born and raised. Yeah.
Does he have more than one wife?
No, I don't know if he's Mormon or what. Like Big Love, like the HBO show?
Utah. A lot of, it's
Yeah, but
polygamy is actually not legal
it's
there.
not legal.
But it's
Don't
accepted.
be ignorant on us.
It's accepted, though.
It's against the Mormon faith, though.
But it's accepted in some communities there.
Well, just because he's from Utah doesn't mean necessarily he's going to have more than one wife. Come on.
It's just a question. I
mean, that's like along the lines of what I said about gay people with the lisp a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, but see, I don't mind. See, you're offending all gay people. Okay? I'm offending all people from Utah.
Oh, I see.
Who cares?
Garland's going to limp in here with ISIS.
I think mine is much more acceptable than yours.
It doesn't look like he's going to get the limp re-raise.
No, he's not. And he's going to see this, 7 ways? 6 ways.
Yep.
There you go.
Well, here we go to the flop.
Well, now the problem with this is now you just got to realize, okay, I'm going to play these aces pretty safe. I'm not going to lose a lot of money on them. I want to keep the pot small.
Looks like no one really flopped 2 pair, though.
Nah,
Troy's going to throw a little feeler bet out. That's 50.
And that should probably be enough to get it down. Take it down. You never know, though.
Well, David's got
How much did
king
David
9.
rebuy for?
I don't know.
And Garland says living dangerously. And not necessarily as long as you can get away from it. You've got to realize if you take any heat with there, you just throw it away.
That's actually one of the other reasons for some of the viewers that might be wondering why we haven't put chip counts up there.
Yeah.
Because that's all computerized as well.
Yeah, for whatever reason, obviously got a little kink in the armor here.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, I mean, I love the fact that our show is interactive. I love that people can email us and talk to us and we can respond. And I love following the 2+2 thread. We'll probably be back online tomorrow night with that, though, for sure.
I don't know. I mean, I hope that it will just come back. Like I said, it was on right before the show, and then it mysteriously went off, and then it came
Well,
back
we've got our monkeys in the back working on it.
Oh, I see. The monkeys.
Yeah, we've got a dozen monkeys that kind of like screw things around.
Got a $60 raise here. Pocket sixes.
How many people have I offended tonight? I've only offended a couple, right? All those in Utah. Philly Al. A couple others. 6? 6 people. There you go.
Somebody's all in for 30 on the side. I think it's David.
I would assume that's David. Well, you know what? If you got to take a stand, why not with Jack 7 offsuit?
Garland's in there with 7s. Mike, the pre-flop raiser, with 6s. Now, Garland's got the best hand. Might Garland just come out and bet and see where he's at?
Garland checked. I got to tell you, I can't believe he checked that. How do you check that?
10-10-3 on the flop.
That's a great flop for 7s, isn't it?
Bet 150.
Well, now Mike's going to bet 150, and I assume that Garland's
I got to tell you, if it goes to if it gets to Mike, of course I'm going to throw it away with 7s. And if you're Mike, why not bet it? Oh, and Mike almost throws it away there.
You won the side pot.
Turns
and David's going to need a jack or 7.
7s are good. 6s are good, actually.
Yeah.
Garland threw away the 7s.
Yeah, I just don't. I think being in there with 7s and just check folding is just too weak a play. I really do. I mean, I think you need to put a little bet out there. I just think you're giving up too much value by only playing that hand just for its set value.
I have no idea.
So once again, tomorrow's tournament, Legends of Poker, will be no limit hold'em, $200 with 1 rebuy. And obviously, all the big names will start coming in next week because next Monday starts like the first 7 or 8 days of Legends are all like $300, $200 buy-ins. But next Monday on August 14th, which happens to be my mother's birthday, is a $500 Omaha tournament, high-low. And that's when the real tournaments start happening. Like 500, 500, 500, 1,500, 1,000, 1,000. For the full schedule, you can go to thebike.com. Check it out. But I tell you,
over here to see too.
Obviously, our cash games will be benefiting greatly.
Oh, absolutely.
From the presence of Legends here.
See number 5 is.
You know, even though I might want to play the Omaha on Monday, I might just forgo the tournaments until the main event. I'm not sure.
Really? Well, obviously, I will be back on the 14th. So if you want to play, and it's okay with our producer, of course, I'm all for it.
Well, I'm going to try to.
If you're going to play, though, you've got to gamble it up.
Raise it.
You can't you can't limp around and have no chips at 7:30.
Oh yeah, that's.
You got to have chips or get out.
Now it looks like Ernie here. He's going to raise it up out of the big blind. He's got 7s. I can tell you, Ernie is a solid. He plays a lot of limit poker cash games. Like I haven't really seen him in a big no limit cash game. He's playing it a little bit aggressively.
Yeah, well, he's an aggressive player. I mean, he's a very successful cash game player, and I don't know any successful cash game player that doesn't play aggressive.
2 players.
You've got to be an aggressive player.
Iraj calls.
Well, Erod just picked up actually a gut shot straight draw. If he knew what shape he was in, he could probably call this, but he doesn't know his overcards are good as well.
$200 bet here by Ernie.
Yeah, and you see how Ernie's not going to screw around. He doesn't put like a little $60 girly bet out there. Once again, I apologize to all the girls out there.
Got 2 smalls, 1 big.
Here, apparently our own Jay Siegel, our potato of Live at the Bike. Potato on 2+2 is now the writer for Legends of Poker, and he has been writing all of the summaries, tournament summaries.
I'd like to pull myself and check one off over the evening.
He's also
J. Max Shapiro Siegel.
Yeah, I've actually taken it upon myself. I've actually hired Jay Siegel as my own research department, my own personal research department. It was funny, I had dinner with Phil Locke, the Unabomber, while I was in Vegas.
Right.
We went for a little like Benihana dinner, and I quickly called up Jay to get some information about Phil before the dinner. So I knew a lot about Phil, but I wanted to get a little more particulars about him. So I was like, okay, give me some more about him. So at least I wasn't ignorant when I had dinner with him.
10-7-5 here with a couple diamonds. Turns of 5 got checked around, and now RD's got trip 5s.
50.
And he's going to bet 50.
And I don't think anybody can call this.
I don't know if Ernie's moving seats or he's leaving the game. Oh, he's moving seats. Okay, he's going to move to seat 3. I can actually, I remember Ernie actually played the 200 game one time, like sometime last year.
Yeah.
He's a guy that actually travels the circuit. I remember discussing with him, like, he'll go to Paris over the summer at the Aviation Club. He'll spend time here for Winning of the Green and Legends. Then he'll be in Vegas for the World Series for a few months.
And the games at the World Series, while still good at the Bellagio, have pretty much dried up. Like I said, I kind of compare it to the NCAA tournament where all of that kind of like fever around it is really for the first 2 rounds. By the time it gets to the Final 4 or the finals, nobody really cares unless your team is in still.
Right.
If your team's out and by the time the Final 4 comes around, most of your brackets are garbage, so nobody cares.
Eraj is going to raise it up here with big slick offsuit, ace king.
And is Mike going to call? No, Mike's not even going to call, and I don't think RD is going to call. And this is probably one of the first no flops we've seen in quite a while. So are you a little bit worried? Did you hear Tom Brady, his shoulders ailing?
I did hear that, but
Tom
I heard
Brady,
that
the New England
he also
Patriots
threw, though. He's been throwing.
Yeah, but apparently he can't throw a football right now. He's only been throwing golf balls. And they say that he might miss the first 6 games of the season.
No, I hadn't heard that. Really?
Yeah. Apparently he's also homosexual.
Oh, I see. So, come on with the fables. No, what is the extent of his injury?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
They don't tell you anything.
Yeah, I heard he was
we've got
throwing.
another tournament player here. We've got GG. We've got Gary.
Gary Gable, right? Gabriel?
His actual real name's like Gebrahite or something like that.
Okay.
So it just goes by Gary, though. It's a lot easier.
He plays a lot of stud high-low with us sometimes, too, Dave.
Yeah, he's
He
kind
has
of
a tendency to go on tilt, doesn't he?
has a tendency to go on tilt and has a tendency I can't even talk.
6 players.
A tendency
To short by himself into games and in limit games and force himself all in a lot.
He's somewhat of an angle shooter also.
Oh, really?
That's where I'm going. Yeah.
Queen Jack deuce here.
If you give him a little rope, he'll take it. He has no problem
50.
shooting the angle.
Well, RD's going to bet 50 here with middle pair. Jack is going to call with Queen 8. How would you ever know if it's good? Turns of 4. Check. A bet. RD's going to call.
2 of you.
Here we go to the river. River's a 10. This one's probably going to go check, David. It does.
Yeah. Once again, we are live at the bike. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hansen. We are here at the Bicycle Casino during Legends of Poker.
So are you going to play tonight? When are you going to get back
I'm
into
definitely
play?
going to play.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You're itching for it?
I literally have not
I do.
played. What is today? Monday. I have not played poker in 2 weeks. When was the Stud High Low Net World Series? 2 Mondays ago, right?
Yeah.
That was the last
So
time.
when's the last time you played the cash game, too?
That was like 2 days before that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also a television show on Monday.
Just got to the point where you and I were just so busy doing other things. that-
I can see that both of our voices are back.
Yeah.
Did you start getting your voice back a little bit? Towards the tail
yeah, well,
end?
once I wasn't kind of doing double duty.
Yeah.
It became a lot easier, obviously. Live at the Bike, we were doing, 6-7 hours a day there.
Raise the
Vegas
40.
voice.
I also stopped partying quite as hard. The beginning of the World Series.
I can
was-
hear the people in the booth laughing when you say you were working 8-9 hours a day.
I actually said 6 or 7.
We get a raise here by Gary with pocket 8s. Jack is called, and TC's got 9s. I told you, really haven't seen TC play much. He really is really tight. Does not play a lot of hands. What's he going to do here with 9s? He's going to call.
The funny thing is, you talk about what Soda's quote unquote working.
Make it 80.
See, some of us were actually working in the booth, while others of us were actually working and trying to get networking and trying to put together games.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like the charity.
Some of us are
event.
doing both of those.
Right.
We got a re-raise here by TC with pocket 9s. He re-raises it. And Gary's going to call. And now Jack's out of there with Queen 4 of Hearts.
Yeah, you can only go so far with Queen 4 Hearts.
So we're heads up. TC with the re-raise with 9s. Ugh. What a horrible flop for 2 red 9.
It really is. That is about as ugly as it gets.
Ace 10, Jack goes check. The turn's a king.
Oh, it's getting better.
And now Gary's going to bet.
100.
He's going to bet 100 now.
Now,
TC's out of there.
let me ask you something. I understand it's an awful flop for you, but heads up there, aren't you going to bet on the button with 2 red 9s?
Yes.
I mean, why does your opponent have to have some of that?
We're okay.
And if your opponent does have some of that, can't they have a jack and not the ace? I mean, a lot of things they could have. Couldn't they have pocket 8s, pocket 7s? And by checking, obviously, you induce a bluff. Or in this case, Gary goes, okay, well, I'll take it if you don't want it.
You know you're not going to see that.
Yeah, Gary's almost like a less successful Gil, where he plays all those low-level
30.
tournaments, but doesn't
Much
necessarily
less
do as
successful,
well.
yeah. I mean, Gary plays I'd say Gary probably plays about 75 tournaments a year, right? And maybe cashes in like 7 or 8 of them. I mean, I don't know how many times he cashes, but I only see him at the final table maybe 2 or 3 times. Gil, though, he gets like 12, 13 final tables a year.
The guy in the middle didn't
4 players.
4-way action
call
here.
40, so you didn't call the other 40.
There was a raise.
Yeah, because they
The
started.
flop comes ace 9-5. Well, Mike in there with ace rag called it in the small blind. He's got the best hand.
Well, actually, Ernie's got
Ernie's got
ace 10.
ace 10 now.
Yeah. The 10 is
I
going
think
to
that
fly.
Ernie might have been
60.
a pre-flop raiser too. So ace 8's going to bet right into this.
Wow, and I don't mind.
And oh, look at this. RD's flopped a set of 5s here. And
I don't
he's
mind
just
this
gonna call.
bet by Mike.
He's just going to call.
I don't think ace 8 is strong enough to check raise.
Well, here's this question. If you're Ernie and you raise with ace 10, you've got a bet and a guy calls in between. Can you just fold here?
I think it's
with
an
ace
easy.
10.
I really think it's an easy laydown.
Wow, he's going to raise. Well, I guess he's going to find out where he's at pretty quick. I mean, you got to think, if you raise and somebody calls, there's no way ace 10 can be good here,
Well,
right?
the problem is you got to look at the board here. It's ace 9-5 rainbow. There's no draw whatsoever. You've got a guy who bets it, right? So you got to put him probably on an ace, and another guy calls. So unless that's the case ace, somebody's got a monster. And even if it is the case ace, what are the likelihood that you have the best kicker here? Remember, you can't beat ace 5 or ace 9. You can only beat, say, ace 8, ace 7, or ace 6.
Time.
And in that case, is there really any point to raising? I mean, unless you think that you can get somebody off of, say, ace jack or ace queen.
I can see them.
Yes.
I mean, somebody can argue that.
I can see.
Because I got to tell you, if I had ace jack in Mike's spot right now, I'm probably throwing it in the muck as well.
Well, again, you see that RD is kind of quite the slow player, Dave. We've seen it twice now.
Right.
You know what? I actually don't have
Only the first half
Well,
hour.
this should be a pretty easy lay down here for Mike.
After that,
Oh,
you
this
can
is
archive.
screaming laydown. I mean, you can beat only ace 6 and ace 7. And what do you put both players on that? Remember, there's no draw whatsoever on this board.
All in.
Wow, well, I think that answers Ernie's question pretty quickly. A bet, a call, I raise, the guy folds who bet, and now the guy in the middle moves all in.
And you know, I mean, Ernie can make the argument that he raised to get some information and got it. And look at that. The turn actually would have been
River would have been a 5, it would have been quads.
quad 5s.
Small blind, big blind.
Ernie took about 1 second
Yeah.
to muck that ace 10 there.
pocket 5.
Is that it? The lowest set possible.
Button moves over here to seat number
But no, I
9.
put it in. You have to put it in.
You have to show the camera, yeah.
Yeah, the funny thing, we were looking earlier in Card
Just
Player.
take the
pictures of Jamie Gold, because you said you had recognized him. I hadn't recognized him before. It's amazing the mound of chips that guy had physically in front of him. That you have to maintain that amount of chips.
You were saying that Greg Raymer said part of it actually is being comfortable with such a huge amount of chips in front of you.
Right.
And unless you've gotten really far in a deep stack tournament, most people don't have experience having that many chips in front of them.
Right.
Can make them almost feel uneasy.
Well, I mean,
Ronnie's pointing to me as if I would.
if I was the last position, I might have.
I got to tell you, actually, that was one of the reasons I was actually happy about going so far in the media event and having so many chips. It did give me some experience having so many chips in front of me.
Hold on. Password.
Buttons moved over here to RD in seat 1.
Well, if you checked out Jamie Gold's bio on Card Player and other places, you'd see that he not only does he is he from California, Malibu,
4 players.
but he's also won tournaments at, say, Hollywood Park. He's won tournaments here at the bike.
Four-way action limped around here. Ace, 6.
Yeah, nobody's got anything. Now, this is one of those boards where it's easy to bluff into a board like this. The reason being is if you get called, you know where you're at.
Well, Mike has a 6. He's going to bet.
And look at RD. RD is... Did RD call?
Oh, I just called you.
RD called him. Is he going to take one off and see what happens? No, RD's throwing away. Okay, I'm sorry.
No. He was just picking up chips from the last win.
Was he? Okay, I thought he was calling. I was like, what is he doing? Once again, though, I love bluffing into a board like that because you know exactly where you're at. Now, if you bluff into a board, say Jack 10-5 with 2 spades out there, and you get called, you have no idea what your opponent has. They could have a draw, they could have a made hand, who knows?
If I pay them, I already know the rules. If I pay them under the table, they might be forced.
Got about an hour left of tonight's show.
Then you lose 500 on the hand.
Once again, I got to tell you, I'm kind of looking forward to the World Series finally ending, so we can really turn our attention to Legends. All the big names will start coming here.
60.
$60 raise here by Mike with Ace 9 offsuit.
Yep.
And
And I got to tell you, in a cash game, that's a hand that I'm probably not even going to play, almost ever. There's just not much value down in a tournament, obviously, where you can't wait all day for a big hand. You'll get blinded off. That's a pretty premium hand in late position. But in a cash game, I don't see much value in stealing those blinds. And if you get called, you have no idea where you're at. You really can't.
Now, you are going back to Vegas sometime this week, right?
I am. I have to go back to the main event.
When are you going back?
I'm actually going back on Wednesday.
You're not going to be here for Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday?
Exactly.
Boy.
And then I'm back for good. And never
When
leave.
you talk about networking, at least someone's got to continue the show on.
I know. Well, it's actually cool, though. Like I said, I'm actually... I believe I'm doing a helicopter ride with Daniel Negreanu on Wednesday.
For the Poker Channel.
For the Poker Channel.
Yeah.
And
horseback riding with Kenna.
I'm doing horseback riding on Wednesday night. Kenna and I are doing a sunset horseback ride. Should be very romantic.
You guys were going to go shooting, I thought, at a gun range.
We were going to go shooting last week, but he kind of flaked. He was busy doing something else, obviously. So he's promised to go horseback riding.
6 players.
Has he ridden a horse before?
He's a cowboy. Come on.
Yeah, but he's a cowboy. He's from Michigan.
No, he said he did. He said he knew how.
8-3-4 with a couple of times.
Ernie with top pair here.
Garland's going to come out and bet here with 9-10, just a total bluff. Oh, 8-10. He's got 8-10.
Okay, and look at Ernie. Actually, I'm not. I'm sorry. Ernie's actually on the button.
Yeah, Garland's got 8-10. He bets out.
I got to tell you, if Garland is betting, I am not continuing. I might raise, but I'm certainly not going to call.
Garland has 8-10. He's bet out with top pair. And RD is going to call here with the wheel draw.
Apparently, Ronnie has been hitting the bottle.
Raise 200.
Wow, and Ernie is going to raise it up here to 200.
I don't mind the play. You're not going to call. You're never going to call Garland. You're going to raise him and put some heat on him. Because remember, if Garland were to have, say, King 8 or Ace 8, you might get him to fold.
And I assume that RD is not going to get involved here, is he? 2 diamonds out there.
Yeah, I really don't think you can. You're out of position now. I mean, what are you looking for? You want a deuce and only a deuce. That's not a diamond. And Ernie's going to take it down. Nice aggressive play from Ernie. Anyway, yes, I'm going, like I said, doing that. Then on Thursday, where the final table is going to be going on, I've got to work that.
I thought that you only had like a 2-day gig with them. It just expanded into.
It really has expanded to more and more. It's ridiculous.
Just because they had lack of content, or just they liked you so much?
I think I like to think because they like me.
But it's actually because of content.
Oh, I like to think because they like me. I think they think I do a good job.
But it was over here to see.
I mean, it's one of the reasons they're considering us for high stakes cash poker. Like I said.
Live straddle? Yes, sir.
But I will be flying back on Saturday morning to play in the Bicycle Casino's free roll, where they're giving away 10 main event seats.
How did they get the gig with Negreanu? What kind of money did they throw at his charity to do that?
I don't know. I don't know. Well, you met Emma.
Right.
Emma's very persuasive. She can get interviews.
Very good-looking, blonde-haired English girl, which is very rare.
Right.
Out there.
And she seems to be able to get interviews.
Just by going up and asking something.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, she bats her eyes at somebody and twirls her hair, and suddenly she's got every interview in the book.
$225.
$225 raise here out of the straddle spot by TC.
Let's be honest.
Going to raise it up.
Emma asked you to do an interview, would you?
No.
You wouldn't? Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Didn't you do some free voiceover work?
I did.
Some free voiceover work you did for her. See, she's very persuasive.
TC shows the 710. It reminds me of an episode they had in Seinfeld last night, syndication, with Jerry's girlfriend with the blonde hair that can get anybody to do anything.
All right.
With the one she talks the cop out of the speeding ticket, and then she breaks up with Jerry, but he's still walking the dog. Do you remember?
That's classic.
Yeah. That was on last night with TiVo.
Yeah, but he's gone. I don't see any of those C3s around
C5.
here.
Are you actually going to be playing tonight after the show?
No, I'm not.
No. Have you gotten back into your schedule playing during the day?
I have. Like I said, I've had a rough week and a half. How
have the games been?
A lot of rivers. No, they've been normal.
Well, you only got back here last week.
Thursday, Friday, and Monday. Yeah.
Any more policemen I have to worry about?
3 sessions is hardly like a bad one.
Oh no, I know. But, I've dropped a decent chunk of change. Because actually, I told all the viewers, I'll get to it in a second here, it's folded around here to the line.
Yeah, you know what?
Well, he's going to raise it up here because we had I think a mini racer out of seat 9. He raised with pocket 5.
Mike put a little almost a Mo-esque bet raising there. Let me see if I can see a flop for cheap.
It's funny how variance always comes around. Because I had been rivered. I had about $6,000 or $7,000 swings in rivers. What I mean by swings is I could, if I'd won them all, about 3 outers, I would have been up 7,000 instead of being down.
Right.
Or 7,000 more I would have had in my pocket. So on Friday, I flopped a set of 6s and the guy had a set of aces. He flopped it, I flopped, all the money went in.
Yeah,
I turned quads, and this was during the $100,000 jackpot.
Oh.
So I was like, ace!
Right,
the guy left the table, he didn't even know he'd lost a hand. When the turn came a 6 and he filled up, there was another guy on the flush draw. He just walked away with his hands up, thinking he had won the hand. And I was like, no, buddy, I have quads, but I want you to win now. You know?
And what a bad beat for him, because he doesn't, if you had pocket 10s or better and hit quads, at least would have been the bad beat jackpot.
Right.
Because once again, you have to lose with aces full of 10s or better, not aces full of 6s.
Limped
Of
around
course,
here.
what comes around goes around, you know what I mean?
King 9-10 here on the flop, and we're going to see a bet out here by Aaron with Jack 8. He's got an open-ended straight draw here, Dave. Top and bottom open-ended straight draw. And Ernie is going to call with King 4, as well as seat 5 who's in there with Jack 8.
Jack 8's gotten there, queen on the turn.
Yep.
140.
And now he is going to bet 140 here.
All in.
And look at...
Well, Chi-Chi's got the same hand. They both have jacks.
Yeah, they both have the straight.
Both have the same straight. Obviously, Aaron needed a 7 there. And this is going to get chopped up. Neither player can actually win this pot.
Yep, chop it up.
All in. He calls.
Now, speaking of variance, we talk about in poker, in the short term, there is a huge amount of luck. But over the long haul, the better players will always get the money.
And when I say about $7,000 a swing, what I mean by that is, you know, I have a river that costs me a $2,000 pot. That's a $2,000 swing. I only lost $1,000 in the hand, but it's actually a $2,000 swing. Of course, and I had that happen 4 or 5 times in my last 3 sessions.
Right, and obviously in your quad 6s, I'm not sure what the swing there
that brought
was.
it back up. It was about a $1,500 swing.
Well, there you go.
Variance has still got me the last 4 or 5 days, but at the same time.
I mean, once again, I was talking about Dimitri Nobles. On the first day of the World Series of Poker, this guy had all his money in the pot with pocket jacks against somebody else's pocket queens.
I know, man.
The flop came out with a queen.
Would he made a running straight?
Running jacks to make
wow,
quads.
running jacks. That's unbelievable.
And this guy was all in. Turned that into being a chip leader, where I think he got knocked out, in the top 50 or 60 people, and made a huge amount of change.
Pocket aces here
60.
for Jack. He's going to make it 60 to go.
You know what I mean? That's what you're talking about. Where in the short run, there's a huge amount of luck. Good poker players, when it comes to tournaments, good players put themselves in a position to get lucky. But everybody that's there at the end has been lucky, and you have to be lucky to win one of those things.
Well, Mike is called with the trap king queen offsuit. TC easily folds the king jack, and I actually don't mind Ernie's hand compared with. And we have pocket tens in the hand there as well. Now, is Mike going to get involved here? That's the real issue. I always talk about that king queen when you hit top.
I got to
pair.
tell you, the way Mike has played tonight, I don't think Mike's getting away from this. We saw him putting a lot of money in there with, say, Queen 8 before.
Look at the amount of chips he has. He's going to bet 100 here.
Now,
And
how
we can
deep is
scroll
Jack,
over to
though?
Jack. Let's see
Yeah,
how
Jack's
deep
got
he
no
is.
money, though. Jack's got no money. This is all going
He's
in.
probably got 500 left.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think this is going anywhere.
But the point is that Mike's going to lose like 600 in this hand with king queen.
Almost definitely. I mean, I just don't see him going anywhere.
He raises.
29.
Well, Mike can't beat ace king. He can't beat aces.
He actually really can't beat any legitimate hand that Jack would be raising with. You can't beat with king queen.
Right.
I mean, do you really think that Jack is going to be raising with king jack? I mean, I suppose Jack could have, say, ace queen of clubs.
King Booth any good?
But Jack hasn't really played it overly aggressive, has he?
What color?
Well, in some of the hands, it's been a little out of line.
That's a bad call. That's a bad call, though.
But they haven't seen it. They haven't seen what
That's
we've
always what we always get mixed up on, what actually gets shown now.
seen. Yeah, we never know,
sometimes.
obviously.
Yeah. Because that hand when he pushed with the 3-5 and everybody folded, no one knew that he actually made that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He had no idea.
Well, give credit for Mike thinking about it. Like you said, you get raised here. I don't think you really continue on. Let's say you call with king, queen of hearts and you throw a bet out here and you get raised. All right, just fold. I threw a bet out to see where I was at, right?
Well, that's the whole point of the bet. That's
Yeah.
the reason you like the bet.
There's
Normally,
no fold equity here because Jack only has 200 left.
if you have ace king here, it's probably better move to check raise because that's why you get
Look
your...
at this. This is great. He's right on the electronic thing that he's not allowed to be on.
Now with ace king here, it's probably a check raise because you want all the money in there. You want your opponent to commit. But with king queen, you put a little bet out there, see where you're at. If you get raised, you can probably throw it away.
Of course, I want to bring that up that we are on a delay to protect the integrity of the game. Sometimes that slips by Donna.
I don't know that. I was gonna say I don't know that he doesn't know someone in the booth.
That's all right.
It's funny. I absolutely adore Donna. She's wonderful. I come in the booth today, and she goes, "Hey,
Should never know.
is this your first day back?" Like she didn't even know I was gone.
She said, "Is it your first day back? What's wrong with that?"
Want to see
Just the way she said it. Isaac and Evelyn both looked at her like,
That's all sweat.
Well, Mike's taking an awfully long time with this one.
well, I like the fact that he's thinking about it. I mean, it's a really great. He's going to call though, unfortunately
Wow.
for him.
Yeah, he's just not going to get away.
He's going to need a king or a queen here, or he's going to lose.
Well, it looks like.
I'll open it. No.
I guess maybe he put them all in. Yeah, I guess he put Jack in.
Well, that's what you're going to do. You're certainly not going to call.
No deal.
And they're not going to make the.
Oh, the turn's a king, and the river's a queen. Mike makes a running full
Wow,
house.
look at that.
That's unbelievable.
Jesus.
Nice hand.
Yeah, and Jack said no deal, and he goes, "Okay, good. I'll take your money then."
Should have went for the deal.
Even better.
I should have done for the deal. Why? You're a huge fan.
Well, in hindsight, obviously.
I always wonder when some of these players say no deal. They think that like the guy is trying to get something from them. Like they're trying to make a deal like a settlement.
No deal.
Yeah, no deal.
No deal. No deal.
Funny. Just so funny sitting there when somebody does that. Well,
the
they
funny
just have
thing
no
is-
concept, do they?
Well, the funniest thing is a lot of them go, "I'm ahead, no deal."
Right.
But if they had a flush draw, they'd go, "Okay, I'll make a deal."
Right, right.
See if it makes any difference at
1,000
all.
behind seat 6.
I actually saw one guy said he only had a one-outer to win because
You want variance? You don't want variance.
I think they both had a set on the turn, so he had one out basically to make his quad, so he's going to lose. And the guy goes, I'm not going to make a deal. What's the point?
I call.
Like, it makes any difference. And the guy didn't want to run it 3 times because he goes, well, if I run it 3 times, I'm guaranteed to lose 2.
Raised to 60.
I'd rather just run it once and see if I can win the whole thing.
I guess that's one way of looking at
I
it.
go, okay, hey, all power to you, man.
We get a raise here on the button with King Queen. That's Aaron. Aaron is a pretty solid player. We've seen him on the show a few times now. Now Jack calls with 7-9 offsuit out of position. And he outflops him. Not a terrible flop for King Queen.
Now, I like the flop for King Queen, actually, because if a 10 comes to one-liner to a straight, anybody with a queen might lose a lot of money to Aaron.
Well,
And it looks like Jack is rebought for another $1,000.
yeah.
Now, Jack with the 7 probably isn't going to get that much involved if the 10 comes obviously straight.
I check.
Anybody with a queen would have a higher straight. And
Never
Aaron's
know.
going to bet.
You like
Is
the
Jack
bet
going to
here.
call here with 7-9?
80.
Yeah, that's the problem with his hand here. I mean, that's not the flop you're looking for, but he's got to call.
Actually,
Is he raising?
did he check raise here?
No, he's just going to call.
I
Pot is now about $300, huh?
Turns a 4. Let's see if Aaron takes a card here.
I got to tell you, well, he
Check,
shouldn't take
check.
it.
And the river's a king.
Check.
Well, now that is a... No, that's not a one-liner to a straight. And look at this. He goes out to throw a little value bet, and Jack just folds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with a hand like 7-9 out of position. Even though you were ahead until the river, you have to play the hand somewhat passively. Can't get anything in there.
I wish I had ace king. That'd be all.
I want to get a shirt. I want to get a shirt that says I don't shop. I want to get a hat that says no deal. And a bandana that says I don't really care about your bad beat story. Turn around and leave me alone.
Like I said, how about your almost bad beat jackpot story, though? I got a kick out of telling that story, though. How about that if you were away and I won $50,000 when you were away on Friday? Oh, that would have been nice to rub into you.
If you had won $50,000,
Yeah.
I would have been psyched for you. Why wouldn't I be happy for you?
No, I'm just saying the amount of...
Right. What would have been the likelihood, though, if you had won $50,000? I wouldn't have been at the table anyway, probably.
Oh, look at this. Ernie's got aces here. I think he straddled. And everyone folded around.
Oh,
That's always
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unreal.
You run it 3 times.
But I was the only one that really knew what was going on. Like I said, the guy with aces thought he had won. And I'm sitting there, it's 4:30. I'm like, ace, please.
Right.
Yeah.
Give him an ace.
Because it was just one of those sessions where I had gotten rivered twice. The guy check raised me. I moved all in. He called. I'm like, you got a set of aces? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh,
Figures.
Yeah. You got to be kidding me. Middle
Some days
set
are just
against
like
top
that,
set.
yeah. Some days are just like that. There's nothing you can do.
Scenario.
I challenge anybody. If flop comes out ace 6-3,
Right.
unless you are super deep,
No, I know. I'm just saying.
there's not really any way you're going to get away from a set of sixes there. Because the guy could have a set of threes, and he could easily have ace king.
Well, he was the pre-flop raiser too.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, he did check raise, but I thought he easily could have done that with ace king. We weren't
Of
all that
course,
deep.
exactly. There's no way.
Exactly. That's what it is. It's just like impossible. for you to-
Looks like it was limped around here. 10-6 deuce rainbow.
Yeah, no 10 out there.
For him, pretty much guaranteed.
I believe-
He's going to get 2/3 of the pot 9 times out of 10.
Or he's got a deuce.
9 times out of 10.
He's in the big blind.
Jack 6 got the best hand though, fours. Did he bet? He did.
He did. He bet a quarter.
Bet a quarter, shows the fours, and takes it down.
We're playing 5-10 no limit. Yellows are $5 chips. Purples are 25s. Whites are hundreds. This is pretty much our bread and butter game here. The game
the
that
casino.
Dave and I play. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I got to tell you, I'm actually leaning really toward 10-20 though, to be honest with you.
And I mucked the king on
I will always play 10-20 over this game from now on.
If it's available for you.
If it's available, I'll always play it. When I was at the Bellagio, I was playing
Right.
almost predominantly 10-20.
Even though that game, the 5-10 was much better than that game. I was actually talking to a bunch of people that were playing up, and they said that they were playing the 5-10 instead of the 10-20. And that was the guy that was playing 25-50 at the time.
Yeah, see, the problem is the 10-20 game. Once the 25-50 game and the 100-200 game started
Yeah.
going, the 10-20 game became really juicy again.
You think it became juicy again?
It did. At
Oh.
the Bellagio game became really juicy again because all the pros were playing 25-50 or 100-200. And the 10-20 game became very good.
I'm just trying to earn, win, like, say, about the 20 grand that I lost the last month back. Add that to my bankroll. In tournament
right,
losses,
yeah,
bad beats.
You had a really
Rough.
you had a pretty rough
month.
World Series of Poker.
Yeah.
I actually did okay because I didn't really play many tournaments and I won that one
satellite,
table.
too. Yeah.
So I want to say, I mean, the tournaments I played maybe cost me $4,000, and I won $8,000 in the one table satellite. So I did fine.
Look at this. Garland is throwing a bet out here, and Jack has raised with absolutely nothing, and Garland calls.
Well, this is a different thing now. Garland is calling somebody that might be steaming, might be tilting a little
Turns a
bit.
king, Garland checks, and Jack is going to bet 300 now. Do you really think this guy would raise with the set, or well, Garland's just not even going to get involved? It's funny, you told me that you started making a lot of money in No Limit by making some big calls when a lot of things don't make sense. I mean, I know sometimes you can just pick a better spot, but if Garland had pieced that one back together,
Just didn't make
do you
sense.
really think that guy would have raised, maybe 8-6? Maybe.
Yeah, it just didn't.
Yeah.
You got to start thinking of what this guy might have. But that was generally, I'll say, the where my game really advanced and where I started really making a lot of money was making some calls. And then when I made the call, people would actually be like, wow, how did you call that with just one pair?
Right.
Or how did you know what I mean? And I'd be like, well, you know what? I knew the guy either had a monster or he was bluffing because he bet on the river, which is it's a leak in many players' games. They just don't bet their marginal hands. And if the monster does not make sense to you, well, then you can usually say this guy's probably bluffing.
Three-way action here, limped around. Queen 7 deuce with a couple clubs.
Well, a couple players have 7s.
Checked around, turns to 6.
RT still the best hand here.
Oh, the river's an ace here. Jack is not in the hand.
No. And the RD10 will play here.
Yes, it will. This is so frustrating that we don't get to interact with the fans.
Yeah, it really does. It's definitely a problem. Hopefully we'll have that fixed for tomorrow. But people, I would challenge our viewers, if you want to take your games to the next level, first of all, you're going to have to start betting marginal hands, value betting the river. But even more than that, I really want you to pay attention to your opponents and notice that when they are betting the river, what kind of hand they're betting with. Because more often than not, your opponent will check down marginal hands.
Even marginal hands, as good as, say, 2-pair on a 3-flush board.
Yeah,
even
no,
top
definitely.
2-pair on a 3-flush board.
There are a lot of times you go, this guy wouldn't bet just 2-pair.
Right.
This guy either has a set, a full house, or a flush or something like that, and none of those hands make sense.
Although I have to tell you, though, I have been caught in a couple traps where there's a guy that just... I had it happen to me on Friday where he didn't know any better to the fact that he bet a big bet out with ace-10 top pair, and I had ace-rag, and I thought he was bluffing. And any rational person will look at this trip 9s here by Jack. He wasn't making a value, but he just didn't understand kind of the board texture.
Of course,
and the fact that ace-10 wasn't a strong hand.
And obviously you've got to realize that when you're playing against some weaker... Now Jack's got the only heart as well. He cannot lose the hand. You've got to realize, obviously, when you are...
70.
When you're playing in some weaker, less experienced players, they will make some mistakes that will confuse you because they don't know what they're doing.
Right.
And that, in turn, will confuse you because you go, well, no rational player would play it this way. You have to realize that, obviously. They're kind of giving you the once-over because they don't know what's going on. But I would challenge our viewers to start looking at what hands their opponents are betting on the river. Look into those patterns, and you'll see.
Anybody that wants to come down to the show as well now, we're doing a deal where if you're not an archive subscriber, if you play on the show, you get a free week's pass to the archives as well.
Oh, that's a great idea. I've been pushing that for a while. I love that idea. So if you play on the show, you get 1 week free, so you can kind of watch yourself, see how good the show is, and then of course jump on board. I mean, I tell you, if you're not jumping on board here, it's crazy. I mean, between all the players that we've had on the show, all the guest commentary, and all the players that we promised to bring over the next few months, I mean, it's really a no-brainer.
You would object.
We had a raise here. It looked like by Ernie. King 10. Garland call with 6s. Aaron call with Queen Jack. 3-way action here.
Either you would say, I'll accept the raise.
4-way action, actually. Mike is in there with Jack 8.
Once again, not a bad flop for 6s at all. Let's see if Garland puts some money in the pot. He is in position.
Well, it looked like Ernie checked it over to him, so Garland is going to bet. And he's going to bet 150 here. Not a bad bet either.
And that's the only problem with Garland's game is the sense that if he ever gets some heat, unless he has a monster, he generally throws it away. Now, we saw him kind of fight back with the ace-jack, and obviously it was the wrong play at that time. But he just, to me, has that image of somebody that people can run over. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's just the way I look at it. And I have a lot of respect for him as a person and a player. I'm always trying to obviously help him out. It's always a fine line, obviously, when you have to draw that line in the sand, though, and stand your ground. Now, Iraj there in seat 2, he's played real tight tonight, hasn't he? But he's going to limp in here with ace-5. Now, his pre-flop hand selection is a little bit questionable.
Yeah, I mean, we see that a lot of times with some people that we kind of think play a little bit tight post-flop.
Right.
But not necessarily really that tight pre-flop.
Exactly. Now, we get a raise here, I believe, from
by Jack, 4-5 of hearts.
I like that play. I'd rather raise with 4-5 of hearts in the button than ace-5.
Well, he's hit the 5, 10-3-5, and you wonder if Iraj is going to go anywhere.
Well, I don't. I mean, is that really what you're looking for with ace-5?
No, it's not. He throws a little $60. Yeah, and Iraj is out of there.
No. And it's a nice bet. He takes it, and he likes to look at it. You ever notice a lot of players like to look at their bluffs before they throw them back
Yeah,
in?
it's funny. Gabriel, Gary, whatever you want to call him there, he hasn't done anything really out of the range of... He hasn't done anything all that... I haven't really seen him make that many
I think he's a
mistakes.
pretty solid player.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing.
Just in the limit game, stud high low, he really...
He just tends to go on tilt.
Yeah.
And we've seen it all the time.
You know, and the funniest thing about, we were talking about the 4,000, 8,000 game, and, you know, I love listening to Barry Greenstein, talking to him on the side, even listening to what he says in high-stakes poker on GSN a couple weeks ago. I saw him, you know, make a call, I think it was against Eli Ezra, because he said that Eli Ezra had lost a couple of pots and thought that maybe he was a little bit on tilt. And you look at the greatest players in that game, like a Chip Reese, who never goes on tilt. Could all those guys maybe have equal skill level, but the tilt levels aren't all the same?
But you hear what Barry says. I mean, we had a great interview during the World Series of Poker about a week and a half ago. You had a great interview with Barry. You can check that out in the archives. Get a raise here from...
Yeah, Aaron's going to pop it up here at 40 with pocket 8s.
No, he bought the button.
Now, the funny thing is, Barry actually said, verbatim, he said 90% of the money won and lost in those high levels is from players either steaming or taking advantage of somebody steaming.
Right. I mean, the skill level is probably going to be pretty much...
Of course, play it
close.
These guys all know how to play.
Right.
You know? Now, RD's got a gut shot straight draw. He needs a queen. But you don't really, in a raised pot, you don't really want to hit that straight, do you? Because obviously if a queen comes, anybody with ace-king would have a straight.
Well, Aaron's going to lead forward here with the pocket 8s that he raised with pre-flop.
80.
And I don't think anybody's going to call this. I really don't. Terrible flop for 8s, but you got to bet into it. Remember, even though the flop is scary for you, it could be scary for your opponent as well.
Wow, and RD is going to make the call with the gut shot there to the queen.
Wow.
Well, you know, might you make a case where you could call, hope the guy checks on the turn and try to just bluff at it up the river, but I don't think RD hasn't been doing that the whole night, though.
Yeah, if I was in position, I could do that, but out of position, I don't want to do that.
Turns a 7. Now he's double gutted. He needs one of Aaron's 8s. He can also make a straight.
Yeah, I just...
And Aaron's going to continue to bet here.
Yeah, I got to tell you, see, in position, you can take one off or float one off, as you like to say. And if the guy checks to me, well, then I can take it away on the turn. But what am I going to do on the turn? Now I have to check when I miss. Remember, I don't even know if I want my queen. I don't even know if I want my king. What does my opponent have?
I remember I had a flop like this where I had king 9 in the blind against Barry Woods, and the flop came jack 10-7. Talk about the power of those hidden double gutters.
Actually, leave that board on for 1 second. If I had king 9 there, river would have been a 6. If I'm calling a raise from a guy who... What do I want to hit on that board? Think about it. If I hit my 9, king queen's got a straight.
Right.
If I hit my queen, ace king's got a straight. If I hit my king, I'm losing to ace king. I mean, I have no idea what I want to hit. Thank you very much, Ronnie.
Well, you know, a way that if he was going to play that as a check call on the flop, if he leads out on the turn, I think Aaron lays that down. Now, obviously, it's easier for us to say, but it's a move that you can make.
But that's the only play you can make. Yeah. And to me, I would rather make a move when I'm in position. Sometimes I'll make, let's say I have king 9 there and I think my opponent is weak, I might float one off in position because will they have the balls to fire into me twice? And when they check to me on the turn, I can take it away from them.
Well, Gary's just limped in here with ace-king suited from up front.
We're talking about the power of position. It's such a huge factor in No Limit Hold'em.
4-way action here. Well, he's picked up clubs and overcards, couple of jacks. Nobody has a jack. Let's see if Gary throws 30. A little bet out here. It looks like he's going to bet 30. That's going to get it done.
Yeah, nice bet there. Once again, it's kind of an informational bet as well. If anybody calls, you kind of know where they're at.
Yeah, we're going to miss the button, so we got one small and two bigs.
I mean, I actually heard, I want to say, was it Phil Gordon or Cunningham saying it? Somebody in the Full Tilt suite actually said this. Was talking about how players make mistakes because they don't realize... Oh, no, Chris Ferguson, I think it was. Now, it's one of those guys in the Full Tilt, so drive me nuts. But he actually said that players make the mistake of betting. They don't realize that they need to, on the river, either bet their bluffs or their big hands. But their marginal hands, they don't need to bet. They just can check those down. Now, in a tournament, that's fine. Because rarely are you playing with the same players enough where they're going to get a real feel of how you play the game. But in a cash game, if I know somebody is never going to bet their marginal hands, it gives me so much information.
Two players.
Mike is raced with ace-jack, and Aaron's in there out of position with ace-10. A little bit surprising. King 6-4. Aaron is dominated. Mike's going to throw a continuation bet in here. He's going to bet 50. Looks like Aaron's poising to make some sort of move here. Let's see.
150.
He's just going to check raise with air. Check raising with absolutely nothing, and that's going to get it done.
Nice to see you again.
You know what? Aaron's image is such that he could probably make that move. He plays so few hands. You just wonder if anybody at this table is paying attention to that. Once again, we're live at the Pike. We like to keep the show as interactive as possible. Thank you for all the emails. Unfortunately for us, our intranet seems to be down. We can't access it. Somewhat frustrating for us.
You have 2 complete stacks of purple back there?
Yeah.
Button moves over to seat number 3. Limped around here. Ernie not going to play the button there. That many players in there, Ernie out there real garbage, and he did. He had 9 deuce. And Gary is going to see if he can pick up all the dead money. And this is part of Gary's game that I never really like. I mean, it's kind of a tournament play and a cash game. I just don't see the value of it. We talk about it all the time. Mo makes this play once in a while. You know, I guess if you're a regular in the cash game, you can do it once in a while because you get action later on. You're giving action, so you're getting action. But Gary is not a regular in this game. So he's kind of advertising, but he's not advertising to anybody that's paying attention. Now, obviously, it worked there. But if somebody calls you, then what do? Now you've got King Jack suited out of position. I mean, I guess if you get called, you're pretty much committed to betting 150 or 200 on the flop no matter what comes out. Can really put you in a tough spot.
Apple pie with ice cream.
Now King Jack is also in. Now it's in Aaron's hand in seat number 8. He's going to limp in an early position.
Water and
That's going to bring Mike in with 3 deuce suited. RD is going to play. E-Raj going to play. Ernie not going to play this. Let's see what Garland does here with the 8-10 on the button. Yeah, that many players in there. Why not see a flop? And he's going to. GG. Gary there.
7 players.
Good call. We're going to see 7 ways. $70 pot here. Jack 7-5. Now you got to realize, obviously, now Aaron with King Jack has the best hand, but you got to be very careful here. This is a limped round pot 7 ways.
75.
I don't want to get caught losing a lot of money in this pot. And he bet $75 into it. And it looks like RD is going to at least call. And it looks like he is going to call this. I got to tell you, I don't know. I mean, 7 ways, limped around. You got to be careful. $75 bet. Wow, and he is going to raise it up. Look at this. Unbelievable. He makes it $100 more. So the pot is quickly $325, 100 to call. That's going to drive everybody else out. Gary there just really posturing. He's going to throw it away. Garland's out. Jack is gone. Action is over to Aaron. And I got to tell you, if you're Aaron here, this is a limped around pot. What are you going to do? It's $100 more for you. Pot is about $340, $330. You know, I don't like King Jack as it is. Now I'm out of position. This guy could have anything.
Well, he makes
this
the
guy,
call.
yeah, this guy could have 8-6. This guy could have 7-5. He could have a set. Who knows?
Turns a 6. Well, he's still way out in front.
Oh, if he knows what he had, he's in great shape.
300.
Wow, and RD just continues to fire here. And again, you know,
Well, I got to tell
sometimes
you,
we get into people's minds where if I had Jack 10 here and I fired big, I would almost think that the guy called me on the flop. I don't have the best hand here. I'm trying to get him off of a better hand. But I don't know if that's going through RD's head, though.
no. Well, the thing with RD here is you can't really fault him in the sense that, okay, he may think he has the best hand, he may not think he has the best hand, but at least he's playing it aggressive. And I got to tell you, if I'm ever going to make a mistake in poker, I want it to be on the air of aggressive play, not of being passive.
And he takes it down.
And you see there, probably a mistake by RD in what he did here, but because he was aggressive, the mistake is rewarded. I'll tell you all the time, we always talk about it in tournaments or in anything, you want to be moving in, not calling. And if you're ever going to make a mistake, definitely make it on the side of aggressiveness. I mean, whenever I see an email or somebody starts off a question, starts off a thing going, hey, did I play this badly? And the first thing they say is, okay, well, I called. And I go, oh, right off the bat, you probably made a mistake, but let me hear the rest of it. But if you hear somebody say, well, I moved in and this guy called me, okay, well, at least you put them to the test.
Button moves here to Gary Gabriel there in seat number 5. Gary Gabriel, GG. Got ace-8 of diamonds.
It's actually like Gebri height. I forget his name.
He makes 35 to go. Small blind's going to make it 7-5 of clubs. And Mike is going to call with ace-jack out of position.
It's about $120 pot, 3 ways.
3 players. Side bet. 20.
Jack in there with an interesting hand. I like the hand in position, but not out of position.
Wow, look at this top 2 here for Mike. Gabriel's got top pair, and Jack's got a flush draw.
Bet 50.
Now, I got to tell you, if I'm Mike, I'm probably going to bet right into Gabriel, hoping he's got ace-king or ace-queen.
Gabriel bets 50, Jack calls, and let's see if Mike is going to check raise.
Well, it's an easy check raise. The board is
Where is it?
far too draw heavy not to check raise.
Looks like he's going to make it 225 more.
250 more.
250 more. Once again, he looks at his phone. Again, we're on a delay.
We're going to have to get him to get that phone off the table.
Yeah. And Gabriel, give him credit. He's easily out of there.
Well, you got to realize that you bet there, you get a call and then a raise. Okay, maybe one guy is on the flush draw, but what could the other guy have?
And their definition of a dry flush draw, Jack is up.
Exactly. And look at that, the turn would have been a 9, the river a jack. Mike would have filled up there.
Jack saying, pick one, I'll show you.
And by showing him one card, you pretty much know this guy either has a set or at least 2 pair.
Yeah, it's Mike over there. He's looking at the phone in hand, seat 9.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, no electrical equipment allowed at the table while you're playing on Live at the Bike.
If you push all in, I go out. But if you call, I go.
The lovely Donna looking over the table, helping us out.
House paying me the right money to call.
Got about 25 minutes left in tonight's show.
The other thing that we didn't, I've been discussing briefly is our time that we had on Sunday doing that event at the Bellagio, where you were kind of the host of the tournament.
That was great.
Yeah.
A lot of fun doing that. Obviously, if you've got about, $500,000 and you want to throw a great party.
Right, exactly.
I mean, this was fabulous.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, they went all out. I mean, it was an amazing party.
Yeah. Well, we're going to see a raise here. Looks like by seat number 2, E-Rush. He popped it up with ace-3 of diamonds here from mid-position. He's got 2 callers. King, queen, 4, all spades, and RD's flopped the nuts. And let me think, might he check this on all 3 streets, Dave? I mean, literally, we've seen him slow play twice tonight.
Yeah.
75.
Jack's going to bet 75.
And this is the kind of flop that I don't really want to slow play that much. Because I got to realize that if somebody does have top 2, somebody even has top pair, I want to get some money off of them, and they might not call even though the spade comes
Before
off.
spade comes off.
Exactly.
Now, he slow played himself to death before with the 7-6 and let 2 running hearts come. Let's see what happens here. He calls. How did we know that was coming? The check call.
And you notice how he raises with Jack 10. Top pair,
Right.
10 kicker, he raises. Here he calls. So how much information does that give me as a player playing against him?
Well, the thing that he might be going for here is that Jack might just continue to do it. No, it goes check, and the river's a 7. And now he's going to bet.
Now, some people can make the argument.
I don't know if he would have extracted any more there.
People can make the argument that he wasn't going to make any money there anyway. But let's say, for example, Jack had king queen there, right? Well, now he bets, you call. Now the river comes up 4, you check, he checks, and let's say the next card is another spade. Well, now king queen can safely throw away 2 pair because he can't beat a spade, any spade.
Got about 25 minutes left in the show. Button moves over here to TC. Pocket jacks here for Aaron in the small blind. Seat number 8.
He's a future strat.
So you kind of psyched for Saturday's tournament.
Yeah,
I mean, they're giving. I mean, I can't believe the bike. I mean, it's really a great promotion. They're giving away almost $150,000 in seats.
30 seats to Legends, 10 of main event seats.
Unreal. They're also giving away a bunch of seats to the $1,500 Mariani Jerry Buss No Limit Hold'em tournament.
Oh, that's the second. The
Yeah,
second
and then they give away $300 seats.
Yeah.
Really great.
45.
Well, had a raise here by Jack with good old Dolly Parton offsuit 9-5. And Aaron is going to re-raise it out of the small blind. Jack has done. And again, when you talk about playing deep no limit, now Aaron re-raises there and takes it down, but it really exposes you to a lot if you re-raise out of position with Jacks up against somebody who's in position, who's deep, who is the pre-flop raiser.
Well, you've got to realize that if you're deep, if I raise out of the blind with Jacks,
Yeah.
and let's say a good player, a good tricky player, calls me in position, what do I think they have? Because they could have
anything.
Right. I mean, they could have 4 or 5 of hearts.
Right.
They could have pocket aces. I mean, they could have so many different hands, and it really gives you very little information when you raise and they just smooth call you, if you're both deep enough, that is.
He knows he has aces.
When we talk about, I mean, if somebody were to say what is the most important thing about No Limit Hold'em, I would not say it's your cards, I would say it's position.
100.
I think position is you know, when you get those questions on 2+2, like Sklansky saying, would you rather have ace, queen, or jacks? And I go, I'd rather have 4, 5 and give me position.
Well, Aaron's going to raise it up here on the button. I think it was a straddle pot. He's raising it with 5-6. A lot of dead money. He takes it down.
49.
Nice shot of Aaron there.
Sixes.
Did you ever go with the goatee look ever in your life?
You know, my senior year of college, I shaved my head bald, completely bald, for the hockey team. It's kind of a unity thing.
Yeah. Unity.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Our
Is
tradition
that like
was
the type of thing where you guys are horsing around the men's locker room with like whipping towels at each other naked, like that type of thing?
No, that definitely was not. Jack was not on my hockey team. Anyway, though, no, it was my senior year. I was actually the captain of the hockey team, and our tradition was we would always shave any of the freshmen that made the hockey team. We would shave their heads bald as kind of an initiation.
Yeah.
But to kind of like show that I was part of the team and to unify the whole team, I shaved my head along with the freshmen, which got the assistant captains to also shave their head. Anyway, I decided that I looked kind of mean, so I decided to grow a goatee. So I was completely bald with a goatee. I actually looked kind of cool. I thought I looked like kind of like a convict. I have a picture of it. I'll bring it in one day.
Kind of like an Ed Norton look,
Exactly.
look in American History X.
Very much so.
Yeah.
I liked it. I actually kind of looked. I liked the look.
Yeah.
And I was about 10 pounds heavier than I am now, maybe 15 pounds heavier than I am.
Now, Jack raised it with ace jack, and Ernie looked like he called with tens. He checks. Now, this is not necessarily a bad flop for tens, but Jack's got the best hand. Let's see how Ernie's going to play.
This is a tough spot for you if you have tens. There's only one overcard,
175.
but if he has the overcard,
175 here. If he has the overcard or an overpair, remember. As
yeah,
well.
and you also can't beat nines now either. There's probably not much value to raising this, because if you do raise it, you're going to get ace-queen or ace-king to fold.
See if I can get confirmation from Donna. Did Ernie raise and Jack re-raised, or did Jack just raise? I think maybe Jack just raised and Ernie just limped in. So
Ernie just smooth called.
So he check calls here. And this is a $500 pot, and the turn is an ace, and now Jack's got top two.
Wow, and Jack?
Well,
Did you check?
Ernie checks, Jack moves all in. Jack would have made a full house on the river.
Yeah, I mean, you look how fast he moved in there. I mean, no thinking whatsoever. Now, earlier on, when Jack did not have a hand and he was bluffing, he actually took, like, I want to say a few minutes to actually make a decision. Should I bluff? Should I not bluff? Here was like, I'm all in.
This almost smells like he had pocket jacks or pocket aces or ace jack. One of those three things.
Although it can be confusing, sometimes we talk about the problems of trying to read a less experienced player.
Right.
Oftentimes, strength means weakness, weakness means strength. But you see there, he was acting very strong and obviously was very strong.
You know what I'm saying? You never did any horsing around.
No, we weren't gay.
Anyone's know what I'm familiar with? Howard Stern show, Casey Armstrong, anyone? No. Ace King of Diamonds here on the button.
I'm gonna get that picture. I had the picture of me bald with goatee.
Oh, okay.
I think you'd appreciate it.
Mike's gonna make it 40 to go here with Big Slick suited in the cutoff.
You like that bet there? He buys himself the button by betting there.
Ernie's gonna call.
Yeah. He's got the old 5-3 offsuit.
Ernie's been in there with a lot of kind of speculative pre-flop holding hands. Gabriel's in there. Oh, and Jack is in there. That's definitely, well, King 3, Ace 6. Both pretty bad. Here we go to the flop.
Well, there's the ace.
Ace 7, 5, and Gabriel's got the nut flush draw. Jack's hit top pair, and Mike has also hit top pair with a better kicker.
Now, Ernie obviously has really nothing. He's got bottom pair. not what you're looking for with 5-3.
Well, a bet right away here by Jack, 150. And let's see what Mike is going to do.
It's
He's going to
not a-
min raise to 300.
It's not a bad bet. You kind of want to see where you're at right away.
Wow, and Gabriel is going to check raise all in here with the nut flush draw, but I don't think he has enough for there to be any fold equity against seat number 9, who's the raiser.
And that's the kind of play that Gabriel does every once in a while,
Yeah.
where it's just kind of like, I mean, that's a dry flush draw.
Yeah,
you got to realize
there's no fold equity.
If the board had come out, say, Jack 7-5, you've got an overcard.
It's 305 more. Dave, the pot right now is like 1,100.
It's an easy call with ace
I
king.
mean, that's a big mistake there with King 3 of clubs. If you're going to semi-bluff, there's got to be fold equity.
Well, basically, you're putting your money in there with the worst of it, because you know you have outs. Okay.
They're talking about running it multiple times here.
Show your card. Two times or 3 times?
You gotta show your card.
And Ronnie
Now
says,
they're
no deal.
posturing.
Yeah, nobody wants to show their cards. See,
Keep saying this.
The more and more you look at that play, the more and more it's just bad.
no, because there's no fold equity.
Right.
So basically, you're agreeing to put your money in with the
And
worst
his
of
king
it.
is no good either.
Right.
No.
2 times.
Of course, his king's no good. It's ace king. I mean,
Well, what I'm saying is, like, if he goes up against ace queen,
Get running kings?
running 2 pair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, you can get running threes right now, I suppose. That's what I mean. When you have an overcard over there,
Right.
it's basically this is a naked flush draw. You are putting your money in with the worst of it.
I think they've agreed to run it 3 times here.
3 times. Okay.
You'll bluff $10 for you.
3 times. So each pot's going to be about $400.
4.
Gabriel needs a club, and he could catch a 4. He picked a straight draw up there. Mike wins the first
One more
one.
card.
Oh, now he's got
Another straight draw, and now he doesn't. And they're only
Yeah,
running
you
twice.
got
I thought they were running it 3 times, and Gabriel loses both. Mike wins them both.
Yeah. And some people can say, well, what am I supposed to do with my flush draw? I might bet my flush draw. And in that way, once I bet it, I get called in both spots, and then I'm pot committed. Or I might just fold it.
How about you just not in there with King 3 of clubs up front to a raise pot?
Right. Well, that's the problem, obviously, when you are out of position with a hand like that. Basically, that's the flop you're looking to hit, right? You're looking to hit a flush draw. The problem is, though, is it forces you into a tough spot later on. It's the reason why you shouldn't be in there with, like, the reason why you and I don't play, say, 7-8 or 6-4 suited from up front.
I think Gabriel's heading back to the tournament room.
Yeah.
Back to some satellites. Back to the tournament room.
Gabriel actually hit me up. He wanted me to loan him some money while we were in Vegas.
Oh, really?
He wanted me to help. He wanted me to put him into a tournament.
And you responded by saying what?
I, of course, gave him the full $5,000.
Oh, yeah.
I said, of course, man. Yeah. I said, no question. Well, you know how much I like to loan money out to other poker players.
The person who has the better hand.
I have no problem loaning Isaac money because I've seen him play poker.
Flipped around here in 3 ways. King, 9. We got pocket 4s over here for Aaron. Let's see if he bets in position here if it gets checked. And he is. He's going to throw a bet in here. Jack is totally missed, so is Garland. Aaron's going to take it down.
Take it down. We always talk about no limit hold'em. You don't have to win very many pots to win a lot of money. You know, and you just kind of saw that coming from Gary there. He was getting a little frustrated. He wasn't getting many hands. And he goes, you know what? I got a flush draw. I'm moving it in.
I was here.
I mean, not only that, I mean, you might make a case where if the guy just bets, if it gets checked over to him, he bets 150, and now I check raise 700. Well, now there's fold equity. But the action of the hand went bet 150. The guy made it 300. You've got 650 left. I mean, you got to do the math out there. He's going to be getting 4 or 5 to 1. He's raised. He definitely has some sort of hand that he thinks big enough to raise on the
I
flop.
got to tell you something. There's no way I'm going to raise that. The other mistake that he made was, you have the nut flush draw, right?
Why not just call if you're going to continue
Right.
on?
Do I really want to? Why do I want to get the other guy out?
Right.
The only way the play actually makes sense is with the money in pre-flop. If I can get the other guy to call also, well, then actually I'm getting true odds. I'm actually getting over 2 to 1 on my money, and I'm only a 2 to 1 dog to make my flush draw.
And then there's always that tendency where people, feel maybe not with these stack sizes that they won't bet the turn unless they have more than 1 pair. You might actually get a free card.
Exactly. There's so
the
many.
guy bets, you call. This guy bets, you call. Now another guy overcalls. Now someone's scared of a set that somebody's still playing a set. You might get another card for
You never
free.
know, right? I mean, the funny thing is, you never want to. We see the problems in limit hold'em. We see it in no limit hold'em. If you have a dry draw and you know you can't get one of the players out, well, if I can't get one of the players out, if I'm drawing to the nuts, then I want all the players in.
Yeah.
I either want to take the pot down or I want 8 callers. Because if I hit the nuts, I want more people in there to pay me off.
Open raise here to 50 in second position here. 4-5 of clubs.
The funniest thing is, a 6 actually came on the turn. All that Gary did was actually protect Mike's hands.
That's right. The other guy would have made aces up.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Ernie's got pocket 9s, and he's going to re-raise. He has played it really aggressively. Raise, call, and he makes a re-raise here with 9s.
Not a bad play. Remember, he's in position. Position
And Mike
is so
is going to
important.
call the raise with 4-5 of clubs out of position. Remember we talked about how hard a suited connector is to play out of position.
Yeah, exactly. Now, if he's in position, he can make this call. The only reason I'm going to say, if you think a re-raise signifies aces, kings, or queens,
Right.
can you call 4-5 hoping to hit pager?
But remember, though, usually a suited connector is going to flop some sort of draw, which is difficult to play from up front as opposed to a pocket pair where you just hit your set or release.
No, you're 100% correct.
Now, RD also calls here with ace-queen. We've got it quickly about a $500 pot here. Well, there's the ace. Now, let's see what RD has usually been coming out and just betting right away here.
Yeah, and you might want to bet this ace here and see where you're at, but I got to tell you, I wouldn't mind a check raise here because by checking this, you get a bet from Ernie. You get to see what Mike does before you get to act.
3 people on the hand here. 4-5 pocket 9s and ace-queen.
One of the reasons why, if I'm ace queen here, if I'm RD, I am definitely checking it because I get to see what both players do before I can act, and that's what I want to see. And the board isn't that scary.
But look at this. Mike is going to come out and bet 250 with bottom pair.
Well, there you go.
And
You
now,
probably smooth call this if you're RD.
well, now the pot is 750 here. And RD moves it in with ace-queen.
That's
Wow.
unbelievable.
Can you talk about if you were Mike and you flopped a set of 7s here, how much money you would win here by betting out on this flop and getting a push by ace-queen?
I got to tell you something. If I'm in this game and I have 4-5 suited, I might make the call as well.
Okay.
Because you look how badly people overplay just one pair.
Right.
I mean, if that flop had come out ace-5-4, you got to imagine
That he would
Mike
have
is
had all
going
the
to double
money.
up. Yeah, Mike is going to double through there.
Yeah.
And those are the kind of things you're looking for.
But you look at the patterns of this game, and everyone's playing it so backwardsly. I don't know. Bottom 2 pair, he might come out and bet too, because that's a vulnerable hand. But you just wouldn't think that that guy would come out and bet with the set, though. We haven't seen it all night.
No, he moved in there. I know he's got ace-king or ace-queen or ace-jack.
No, I'm talking about the guy from up front. I'm almost not scared that he has anything better than ace-queen, because he bet out.
Yeah, you might be.
You know what I mean? It's
He bluffed. Why are you calling
again, I don't really know. I mean, ace-queen, it's a pretty strong hand on that board, but it's not the nuts. It's almost, you could say, it's almost a little bit somewhat marginal to the point where if you push, you're only going to get called by a hand that beats you, right?
Of course, almost definitely.
That's another ace.
Almost definitely.
Got about 15 minutes left in the show here.
I mean, what hand can call you that doesn't beat you? I mean, are you really going to get called by ace-jack? Get a raise in the button here from Jack. Actually, I'm sorry, Mike raised at seat 9 under the gun with the old 10-4 over and out. And I believe Jack re-raised him with 7-3.
7-3 on the button.
That's the Joseph Hashem hand. We got about a $120 pot.
Well, Jack's out-flopped him. He's got a 3.
Hey, but that's not what you're looking for?
And Mike is going to come out and bet again, this time with nothing.
7.
And if you're Jack, can you continue on here? I guess the answer is yes.
Yes, he can.
I'm a little bit bewildered and dumbfounded here as to what some of these guys are doing. Pot is quickly $250.
Well, let me ask you something. If Mike had a big hand here,
Well, now Mike's open-ended.
if Mike had a big hand here, wouldn't he check raise?
Well, that's what we just said.
Yeah.
He wouldn't bet. Now he's going to bet 150 here.
It's almost that backwards play that you
Right.
can almost say, okay, this guy's betting. That means he probably has nothing. The problem is, he could have a 6. He could actually have nothing and be like a 6, you know?
He might bet with Queen Jack, King Queen, and a call. A call by Jack, and the river's a queen. This pot's $1,000.
$1,000, and Jack is going to win this if it goes to showdown. Jack has got queens and 3s with a 7 kicker.
Can Mike fire a third bullet, though?
He's going to have to.
It's $1,000
problem-
pot.
The problem is, though, it's really tough to fire. Now, that is the ultimate scare card in a sense, but at the same time, you fire that bullet into your opponent, because remember, he could have been calling you the queen the whole time. And obviously, you don't want to be bluffing into trips.
Well, the question is, how much does Jack have left? I don't know if you can get a look at his stack. He's got about 700 or 800 left there. The pot's 1,000.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's so
Well, he's
easy.
going to bet 75, Dave. I mean, I don't know what that's going to do.
$75?
$75 into a $1,000 pot.
You're getting 12 to 1
I
on
mean,
your
I'm
money.
even getting a weird look from Isaac here. Is it going to work, though?
He's getting 12 to 1 on his money.
No, Jack's not going to lay this down, is he? No, I thought he was going to muck for a second there.
You might muck for 200 though. 200?
Jack calls.
Good call.
Got
Call.
4?
4.
Oh, I got a 3.
And the whole table goes and laughs.
The 75 was sneaky.
1,000, 1,100.
Hey, I want to hear what it says. So the 75 was sneaky. It looked like you wanted a call. But you know what?
Look at Ernie. Look at him.
The funniest thing about it is it's oftentimes when somebody's betting 75 on the river, you usually say to yourself, this guy can't be bluffing. He has to want to call here. But oftentimes you're going, but I'm getting priced such a good price on it, I have to call. And, of course, you do.
Well, here comes Corey into the game with C2.
Well, there's action.
At least I
Now,
know.
you're kind of hard on Corey, Dave.
At least I know.
He is kind
that
of a
I was making
tightish
that
player, but
Not hard on him at all.
would you say that you have respect for his game? Do you think he's a
I
good
do.
player?
He's not good for the show.
Oh, I see. No, but I thought you said sometimes that he always thinks you're bluffing.
He
One.
always thinks I'm bluffing.
Yeah.
He always thinks I'm full of shit.
I call.
No, Corey's a solid player. I like Corey's game. He's just not great for the game.
Although he did make an unbelievably bad call against Allen on Thursday, Dave.
Did he?
Where he had pocket queens and the flop came king high. He bet Allen raised
Okay,
with
cool.
a king. Corey called. Corey ended up doubling Allen through. Allen moved in on the river with 2 pair, and Corey called with queens, not even top pair. And I was like, what are you doing, Corey?
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, just shutting lights off. Everybody keeps going, huh?
How many times has Allen raised on the come?
Right.
On the flop, that is. Come on.
Mike's going to take this one down with aces. We've got about 10 minutes left here.
I always talk about it. One of the first things I like to do is when I see players, is I like to kind of put them in a category of, okay, is this a player I'm going to either A, bluff, or is this a player that I'm going to try to make my hands and bet for value? Or is this C, a player that I'm just going to try to avoid? And they're all players in different categories. Allen is definitely a player that I'm going to be betting for value. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I thought Shirley Rosario was going to come here during a break. Does that mean she got knocked out?
I don't
She just
know.
left? Maybe she just forgot.
And I got to tell you, she looks great. She does. I mean, considering she is about 80% through with her treatments
chemo.
for her chemo for cancer, she looks absolutely fabulous. Really does. She's only got a couple of treatments
She was
left.
really bummed out that she didn't get to play. I mean, she was planning on playing like 15 events.
Yeah.
And she only got to play 2, I think. She
I was
played 2.
talking to her about it. You know what? In the scheme of things, you miss 1 year of the World Series of Poker.
I think
We kind
health
of missed
is more important.
Yeah, of course, but we kind of missed this year's World Series of Poker. It's not the end all, you know. Next year, you and I will play more, and so will she.
Pretty good flop here for Jack. He's got the nut club draw with a pair of 6s.
Oh, that's a great flop for him. That is an absolutely great flop for him.
And Jack raised, and Aaron called him with 10-7. And, Aaron had raised and Jack called. That makes a little more sense.
And look at this. Jack is going to bet right into the board. And I like
Well, again,
the
you
bet.
wonder if Aaron here... Well, Aaron actually has a better hand. He's got a pair of 10s. He's going to call.
Wow.
Oh, actually, he raised 100. And Jack calls it. And, Aaron might correctly put him on a flush draw here. That he wouldn't bet an ace. Here we go to the turn. Well, the turn's
Wow.
7. Aaron's got 2 pair now.
And I got to tell you, I'm going to bet big here. I'm hoping that Jack's got an ace. I'm going to bet big here. And he is going to bet pretty big here. He bets $300 into about a $500 pot. Probably could have even bet more than that.
I mean, I got to tell you, though, wow, I'm surprised that Jack just laid that down so easily.
And the river was the 5 of
was
clubs.
the
He
club.
would have got there.
I mean, you look at that, and you say to yourself, well, what if my king is good? What if my 6 is good? Yeah, the clubs, Aaron's a good player. It might seem a little transparent. But what if I catch a 6 there at the end?
Yeah.
Can I make it look like I'm on busted clubs by betting real big on the river? I love to do that when I flop my flush draws with a pair. I want to not hit my flush draw. I want to hit trips, and I want to hit it at the river. So someone thinks I'm trying to bluff.
Right.
Off
It
on
looks
a
like you're
busted
trying to
draw.
make. Looks like you're trying to make it.
Right.
Yeah, it's a tough spot. I mean, I never mind throwing away a draw there because obviously it is tough to make it. In that one case, if your opponent had ace king, you don't even know if the king is good. That's the only thing there. If you had, say, 6-4, you're almost in better shape because then you know your 4 is good.
50.
You get a $50 raise here by Jack.
He's got 6-5 offsuit. Nobody's going to play. He's going to take it down. Live at the bike. I got to tell you, I'm really disappointed actually that I'm going back to the World Series again.
Sure,
I don't
flying
want-
back on Wednesday?
Flying back on Wednesday, I don't really want to miss a show anymore because I mean the action this month is so good.
That would have been a little stretch if you had said, "Oh, I'll take this week off as well." I'm just coming back for 2
No, I
shows.
didn't. I didn't want to. Like I said, I'm disappointed I'm going back at all. I really want to be here. I actually missed
Calm
the
down.
show.
I'm just giving you shit.
No, I just missed
Calm
the
down.
show.
I'm just giving you shit.
No, I do.
Ace Queen here on the button.
On other
Alrighty.
news, have you ever gone somewhere and not left something?
Oh, yeah, right.
I mean, it's unbelievable. We stay in a house together, right? And you leave your charger, which I give back to you, and you didn't find.
I'll get to that in a second. 6-3-4 here with a couple diamonds.
Then you leave the hotel room, and you leave everything. As if I didn't have enough bags to bring back from Vegas, I had to bring back your bag as well.
Turn is a 7.
Does anybody have anything?
Doesn't look like it.
So we got 3 diamonds out there. Jack's got the biggest
Jack.
one.
Well, RD's going to win this one with ace high if it goes to showdown here. That's good. As I was saying, in the hotel room, I thought I had just left my sunglasses. I knew I'd left them, but you guys had already gone, or you had gone down to the pool, and I didn't want to walk down there and get you, but then I didn't realize I'd left something else in there as well. Yeah, did you find your flip-flops?
I
that
did
you
find my
lost?
flip-flops.
People have to understand, we were living in a house. You, me, and all the technical guys.
Yes.
For what, a week and a half?
And apparently it was a spider-ridden house. That's only because we left food everywhere.
Yeah, there was like food everywhere.
Yeah.
Do you know that they
Very much
left
like a
the
Friday.
beer in the refrigerator?
Did they? Oh,
They didn't
that's
take
cool.
it back with them.
I can't believe that.
Where's Ray, anyways? He's not here tonight. Pocket 7's here for seat 5.
Wait, Ray's got a day off? I didn't approve that. What the hell's going on here?
45.
Well, Ernie's going to put a little kind of pot sweetener raise in here. Out of position, 3-4 diamonds. I just want to see if Ernie just misses this. Is he just willing to be content to just check and fold here? Well, it's not. I mean, he's got middle pair and a gut shot. Could be worse, and he checks it. Well, Iraj here in seat 5's got an overpair, and he checks it with 7s. And now he turns a set. Well, now Ernie's going to bet. He bets 100.
Well, 7 didn't change anything. 'Cause remember, if you had 4-5, you already had it was already there.
Well, now when this guy raises, you might put him on something like 4-5. That he flopped 4-5.
You might. You might put him on 2 pair. Who knows what he has? It's odd that he would check a set
Yeah,
of
but
sevens.
what 2 pair would he check? Would he check 6-7 there? Would he check deuce 3 on the flop?
Yeah, right. He wouldn't call a raise. Would say deuce 7 or
Wow, and
3-7.
Ernie's going to call here. And this pot is quickly $900. The river is an ace. And luckily for Ernie, it wasn't a 3 because you
I
wonder
was
if he
going to
would
say
have lost money.
the 4 obviously was not a big deal because that's a one-liner to a straight. But if a 3 comes off there, you wonder if Ernie's going to lose some money.
And now Iraj bets. Looks like 600 and Ernie's done with it.
Yeah.
Got time for a few more hands here. We'll be back tomorrow. Oh, this is going to be the last hand of the night? Last hand of the night. We'll be back tomorrow with a similar game, probably 5. Well, tomorrow's going to be no limit hold'em tournament, right?
It should be
So
insane
it might be a
tomorrow
10-20 game.
Once again, the tournament tomorrow starts at 4:15 p.m. If you want to play in tomorrow's tournament, I recommend getting here by 3 o'clock.
200 with one optional rebuy. And then Wednesday, boy, that's going to bring some real heat into the casino. $500 stud high low.
$300.
$300,
Yeah.
excuse me.
$300 stud high low.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I got to play I played 12 and a half hours
Yeah,
in a
yeah.
stud high low tournament.
Ooh, look at this. Last hand of the night, pocket kings for Iraj, pocket queens here for
RD.
seat number 1. And Iraj looks like he is just going to call out of the blind. Oh, excuse me. We got a limp here by queens. Iraj raises it out of the blind, and seat 1 just calls. So Iraj is the pre-flop raiser here. It's about a $250 pot.
Oh, and lucky for RD and ace falls.
Well, Iraj just got the best hand here, but that's not what you want to see when you raise it with kings.
Can you imagine if that flop could come out, say, jack high?
Yeah.
Not only would Corey maybe get involved, but RD may get involved, and Iraj is going to win himself a big pot.
Looks
but
like
in
he
this
got
case,
checked around to Corey here. And he's got jack 10.
well, no reason for Corey not to think he has the best hand here.
Or maybe try to take it away from queens or kings.
Right.
150.
He's going to bet 150 here. And again, though, it puts, if Iraj check calls here, do you specifically put him on kings or queens? Or maybe he's slow playing a set of aces?
You might have to. You know what, though, I got to tell you? If I'm Iraj here, it's a raised pot. You know what? If I'm going to play it that way where I'm going to check and then call, I'd rather just check and fold.
Well,
Pick a
that's
better
what I'm saying.
spot.
I'm saying if Iraj check calls here, I think he gives a lot of information to Corey. But then again, you can turn that around, and if I play this as a check call with kings, would Corey bet on the river for value with ace-queen or ace-king if the board starts to get a little bit scary.
Exactly.
And if he bets, do you think he's bluffing?
Well, he's certainly not going to bet ace-queen here. Remember, you can't
Right.
beat ace-jack and
Right.
you can't beat ace-king.
I should've
But you know what? Nobody's going to get involved.
Yeah.
And Corey takes it down.
That's
And look at
gonna
RD. RD actually said I should have raised pre-flop. No, that would have cost you.
That's going to do it for us.
Wow.
Another night down live bike. We'll be here tomorrow for probably another 5-10 or possibly a 10-20 no limit game. For everybody here in the booth, I'm Bart Hansen. Dave Tuckman. Good night, everybody, from Live at the Bike.